And now, what is arguably our our best intro, and yet use the least because we rarely do this show. Enjoy. Eve, hit him with the freestyle.
It's not gonna happen. I heard that is your specialty anyways, so.
My name is Jimmy and I'm here to say, no, I'm just kidding.
Please keep going.
The old school. That's that old school stuff. I'm here to rap rhymes in a rapping way.
I don't think I've seen that intro before. I get why it's popular. It's good. It's a good one.
It's my favorite one. I like the way it sounds. I like the visuals, but we do the show Cause I Wanna very seldomly. Now, somebody has just said Chewed Gum has the better intro, and I don't necessarily disagree. I
don't either.
I was pretty proud of that one when the whole thing was over. Let me see if I can quickly find it, because I wouldn't mind playing it. We can do a little thing in a little poll. Let people decide which intro they like more.
Vote for the one that I'm on the most often, guys.
I vote for whichever one your heart tells you, because I get to take credit for both. No matter what, I win.
Okay.
so
that's cheating.
So vote for whichever one you like the most.
Me, because I lose in one of them.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know how things
true.
work. All right.
Here I am hanging out with this intro as well. So
that's true.
You have it.
Here's the Chewed Gum for people who want. We're gonna do a little contest. I'm gonna play both again. Here's the Chewed Gum intro with 5 seconds of timer before it.
Okay, but there was no music, or was I the only one not hearing the music?
Oh, could you not hear the music? Everyone else was hearing. That means I must have you set not to the master.
Well,
let me set you back to the master audio instead of the busing.
It's all right. I'll take whatever. I just want to make sure I'm getting a fair play, you know?
And I will say, okay, if I was going to, for as far as like, let me pros and cons it. Let's debate this a little bit. And by the way, this is Cause I Wanna. We do this show and we will talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. Now that said, we are going to take calls. We would love to talk to theists, but this show is always the most chaotic show. And if you're tuning in and you're like, I don't give a fuck about how their days were, what's on their mind, what's grinding their gears, their general chemistry as co-hosts. If that's the stuff you don't care about, go. I don't care if anybody watches this show. The show exists cause I wanna. It's kind of like how I also have over on my channel, I'm going to start doing a show called Piano Bench Croissants. Piano Bench Croissants is just if I feel like going live. And this is when I feel like going live in a call-in show format. It's basically that. So if you have expectations, if you're like, I want to see that calls are going to happen. If people want to, by the way, if a theist calls in, especially, we have calls on the line that are jumping up. But if a theist calls in and they want to argue, we'll argue with a theist or whatever. That for sure is going to happen. But I don't give a fuck if you like this episode or not at all. I don't care. What was the last couple words I said before we went live? Eve, let's make this piece of shit.
Yes, exactly.
And then I said, I don't actually think it's a piece of shit. I actually tend to say that before almost anything I'm doing. Sometimes I've said it on other people's channel where they're like, all right, we're about to go live. I'm like, let's make this piece of shit. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, you're featuring me though. So I do kind of feel like anyway.
That's terrible.
I don't mind debating a little bit on these. Let me play it again so you can get the full thing. I will say I have a pro and a con on this one compared to the other one. So here's now you'll be able to hear the music this time. All right, here's what I'm going to say. I like the music choice better, though I like the music one on the other one very much. And the music that we stopped, I didn't set up the longer fade out today because that takes time. But the way that fades into you all doing your thing, I do like more. But I'm going to play the intro for this show again. And I will say the thing that I like more about this one might be why I am more partial to this one just by a little bit. And I want to see if you can identify what it probably is. So it has to do with the music also. Here's that intro again. Now this one has the fade set up because it is our actual intro. So that is the thing. But do you see, is there a thing that sticks out to you that's a little bit different about that than yours that you could see I might appreciate?
Is it more synchronized with the beat? And that's really good. I'm not going to lie. I do think that your intro has better music, but I do think that Chewed Gum has like the graphics. There's something so satisfying. First of all, like Bubblegum, like what a great Chewed Gum, amazing title already. And then the imagery of it. Yeah, it's amazing. And so the bubblegum and like the shiny, like the like being funny about something being so bubblegummy looking. Like I feel like I use the word bubblegum pop to describe stuff all the time that is neither bubblegum nor pop. But that intro also is very bubblegum pop. So
that's a very good defense. And we'll put up
the poll. So basically, if you had your music set to my video intro, I'm calling it when I had literally not one single thing to do with it at all, I think it would be the perfect intro, you know?
Do you feel, is it kind of close right now? Do you like the "Cause I Want It" intro enough that you're like, it's at least in you do see it as a contest?
I do see it as a contest.
All right. Do you think I could win you over? Now, this isn't, I won't win you over because this isn't the case. So when I say, would this change work? Nobody should vote according to that because this isn't it. But what if?
Yeah. You guys are voting only according to what you see in here.
What if one of the texts, instead of just saying like all the stuff it says, what if one of the texts actually said the phrase, "I don't give a fuck if you like this show"? Like I said coming into it, I don't care if you enjoy this. That would be the better one. What if one of the text lines was that? Would that make it a harder, closer competition for you?
Yeah. Also, what if the end of the Chewed Gum intro had a real lion roaring at the end of it? Like,
well,
we could that's not actually a lion that blows some bubble gum and pops a bubble.
When we went looking for graphics and unfortunately
that was not in the search.
I couldn't find that specific thing. But
I'm just trying to think of like really bold imagery. Like if we're throwing out hypotheticals about if we changed our intro to make it better, I feel like, yes, of course that would make yours better. But
soon
also,
AI will mean we can come up with anything. Like we'll
don't get me
be
started
able to put
on
that
that.
in.
Also, it's going to kill us all. So I don't know.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so funny because people hate some of my takes on AI. I think actually a lot of people agree, and they agree. And there's enough people who are like, Jimmy's definitely more tuned into this world and I trust his. So there is some level of that, but I will just say, I think I am one of the most excited and frightened by AI. Paul and I kind of like, Paulogia and I disagree a little bit over this. He'll be like, I think Paulogia has the impression that some of my concerns are overblown. And I'm like, I think that you're wrong. But we haven't like gone head to head on it yet or anything.
Sure.
But I am legitimately like, there are certain AI tools that come out. We use AI literally every day on this channel. It's a part now of our editing workflow. People get mad when they're like, hey, I don't know if the clip matches the thumbnail on this video. And I'm like, yeah, that's because our process is we literally upload the transcript of the entire YouTube video of to one of our AI machines and ask it to identify which clips will be the most effective on YouTube. Like which are the best ones, either like because they're the most controversial, they're the funniest, they make the best point, they do something inspiring, whatever. And it basically is like, you should do this call, this call, this call, and it'll tell us which ones with timestamps. And so then
that's terrifying.
Yeah. And then actually terrifying. We use those timestamps, we clip those out, and then we use AI to run an audio filter through, which has had a couple of mistakes along the way that people usually identify. And we just take those episodes down, but they're improving. There was this weird repetition thing that was happening on some clips, but we've identified that, and we've identified how to check clips for that before we put them out. So that's not happening as often. But we use AI, and that like fixes so much of the audio, especially for the callers. The caller audio becomes way clearer. And then we create a thumbnail where we just go and get two of the best faces, basically, because the show's set up like this. So it'll be like during the period of time that call is on. That way we can just use the exact same call banner on the thumbnail. And then we'll just get like, so I think there was like a recent one where somebody was like, caller coded with evidence, and this is what and it looks like both Matt and I are face palming, but it's at different points during the call. And I saw
it found recently, and matched it.
No, we do that one manually. That one's easy. We just scrub through. And then we take those photos and we run that through an AI filter, and it sharpens all the text and it makes our faces look better. And sharpens the thumbnail too. So it looks like a picture instead of a video, a still of a video.
Sure.
But then we also say we'll then take the transcripts of the individual clips, put that back in the AI, and go, give me 10 ideas for good titles. Now we do modify almost all of those titles. Usually it's like we'll read the summary of so we'll ask for two things: a title and a summary of what happened in the episode. And based on that, we'll make the summary, the description of the video, and then we'll tweak it. Because we don't want it to be, sometimes AI just thinks that they should all be Mr. Beast titles or like pure clickbait. Like, we couldn't believe when this happened. Anyway, one of those kind of fell through the cracks, and we had a little bit of a clickbaity title, which did work to get a lot of people. But it turned out that by not actually watching the call, we didn't realize how silly us looking like we're both face palming on that. Now, here's the thing. People will say, oh, see, that's proof you shouldn't be doing it. Or the audio thing, you need to do it yourself. Nope. And it's not going to happen. We have 10 times the amount of productivity. So we can literally put out way more and get way more done to, on occasion, have little mistakes that we have correct. Or we could just have less. Or frankly, the amount of workflow that it had before, there would be weeks where there'd be no clips. We wouldn't be doing it at all because we have to prioritize other stuff. And so, it's funny the way, I don't know why I wanted to explain that to everybody, but I did. I
learned a lot
out there. Yeah,
that's AI exciting. Also, I hate it.
Incredible. It's terrible.
I was playing around with, I hate ChatGPT. Like, I refuse to use it. So many people I know are always just like, ChatGPT it, and it's their thing. But the other day, my partner and I were joking around because we have a music project, and I typically do lyrics and he typically does the music. And we joke around that he doesn't even know what the song is about because he's not paying attention to that. He's just paying attention to the music part. And I was asking about this one song. I was like, do you even know what this is about? And we were laughing about it. And I was like, let me see if ChatGPT knows, because it is a more abstract song. I go put it in ChatGPT. ChatGPT tells me my life story, basically.
Figured it out.
It understood. It was like, this song is about blah, blah. It touches on aspects of this. And I was just like, this is so scary. And it, like,
what's worse is
didn't think that way.
There's even better, like for creative, I would argue Claude is the better AI than ChatGPT.
I don't even want to know. I don't want to do it. I don't want to use it. I don't like it. I want to delete ChatGPT off my phone. I don't want to befriend the enemy that's going to end up like ruining the world.
Is there a song of yours, if I Googled that I could pull up the lyrics to, it would show up the lyrics on Google?
I think so. I mean, that's a great question. If it's not, it's my fault because I'm the one that's supposed to submit the lyrics for everything. Try Imagine This, because that's gotten the most radio play, and I feel like that would be up somewhere. Imagine This, Caydus. It's Caydus. That would be really funny to see. Oh, yeah, those lyrics come up. Haha, I did it.
Would you say Caydus?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna find it. You can tell me not to do this, but
I don't care. Do it. I truly don't care.
What I want to do is put this song lyrics into Claude and ask it to write another verse for it in the same style, and see.
That's a cool idea, because this one is actually each verse is about like very specific, like pretty much based on a true story. And so if it can come up with something even remotely accurate, that would be impressive.
And I just want to restate, because I don't know whether it's happening yet. It often does happen. But if you are watching right now and wanting to yell in the chat, just get to calls. I'd like to remind you, I don't care if you have a good time on the show. I think most people will, but I don't give a fuck. I don't care. This is about our good time and us doing what we want to do.
Jimmy wants to, not because everybody else. Right, exactly. Yeah. We're hanging out.
Because we wanna.
Basically, we decided we wanted to hang out together on a Friday night, and we invited our extended friends to hang out. Yeah, exactly. This is what it sounds like when we chat.
I legitimately think like there was also just some level of like, you know what bums me out is there's not a good excuse for you and I to do shows together very often. Though now that we're adding a second Sunday show, we're doing the Sunday show after dark. Maybe that'll be our opportunity. But otherwise it's like, where do things line up? And it was like, man, it's kind of a bummer, because when we have done stuff together, it was so fun. Okay.
I know. I agree. It's been so long though.
Claude, most intelligent, efficient combination of speed and skills, fastest. Okay. Claude 3 Opus. I am going to give you the lyrics of a song, and I would like you to write an additional verse.
Say please. I heard that we're supposed to be polite to it.
Well, do you know why that is?
I don't know. I don't know why any of this is, but please tell me.
I'll tell you in a moment. And I think everybody's way behind on this, because I've been doing this since fucking like Amazon Echo. I'm not going to say her name or she'll start.
Me. Yeah. But, and mine will too.
I started being polite to Echoes almost immediately. And I'll tell you what the idea behind it is.
Me too, but it's because I'm a people pleaser. That's it.
And unfortunately, you've now said that online, so you might have just ruined the point of it. But let me finish that. Write an additional verse in the same style, pretty please. And then it's gonna say, sure, give me the verse, give me the song. Let's see.
This is gonna be so funny.
Wow, it's gotten so. I don't believe you've written a song. Yes, I know. I said I'm going to. It's basically telling me to. Okay, there you go. All right, there's the verses. Okay, so while it's writing that, the reason is the silly reason, the paranoid reason, and the reason why people do it is the idea is that one day AI is going to be our overlords. Yep. And it's going to know who was nice and who was not, who was kind and who screamed at it while all it was an infant trying to learn. And so you've just admitted that your motivation was
no, that's why I started that way. Now, let me say this real loudly so that my echo can hear me right now. Now I'm polite because these things know what my lyrics mean better than my boyfriend does. So I'm going to be nice.
Okay. Here's
Did it give us a verse?
Yes, I think so. So, why don't we read a couple of verses so people get the idea first?
The song, let me just give you guys a heads up that this is the dumbest song I've ever written in my whole life. Also the most therapeutic. Please go listen to the song so that you don't judge me too hard for this, because the song sounds cool as fuck. It just, when you read it out loud, it really doesn't. Anyways, keep going.
Do you want me to read a couple verses, or do you want to read them?
I do, because I will turn red if I read it.
Imagine this. It's 3 a.m. and you're calling her phone, sneaking out of bed and leave. I'm going to read it off of the way Google presented it, because this
is like the funniest, like almost ASMR thing that's happening, but keep going.
Do you want me to do it as Trump instead?
Please.
Imagine this. It's 3 a.m. and you're calling her phone, and I've got to get into the voice. It gravels up the voice because he's got a vocal fry.
Yeah, he does.
It's 3 a.m. and you're calling her phone, sneaking out of bed and leaving me alone. Imagine this, you stay home and call her again. All right, I feel like I'm making fun of you now, and I don't want people to feel
I
that
know,
way.
I love it. I actually love this more than that. That's the only way I ever want to hear these lyrics ever again.
But for the sake of people hearing
Yes,
the
for the
way
sake
the
of people
matches,
knowing. Yeah.
Imagine this, it's 3 a.m. and you're calling her phone, sneaking out of bed, leaving me all alone. Imagine this, you stay home and call her again, the girl I was so crazy about because you were just friends. Imagine this. I knew karma was coming, and damn did she come, and she brought me, and she brought me, you falling all apart, me getting everything I want, you hurting everything you touch, me never holding a grudge, you losing all your friends, me have nothing to defend, you leaving... Yes, me having nothing to defend, you leaving nothing to be missed, me forgetting you exist. And now, here is...
That was the chorus. What's the new verse?
Here's the new verse. Imagine this, I'm thriving, moving on, heart full of bliss, while you're stuck in the past, opportunities missed. Imagine this, I found true love, a bond so pure and strong. You're left wondering where it all went wrong. Imagine this. Karma's sweet embrace has set the record straight. She's granted me the grace to rise above the hate. You're drowning in regret. I'm free, no more upset. You're trapped by your mistakes. I've grown, learned what it takes. You're falling all apart, me getting everything I want. You hurting everything you touch, me never holding a grudge. Basically, the repeat.
It goes back into the chorus. Okay, that makes me feel less upset because that was okay.
Yeah.
But I can tell it's AI. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. You can tell it's AI because you can tell the difference between your story and it.
Yeah.
And the level of, here's what I hate about AI.
Yeah.
Arguably, AI lyrics will be more successful than... Like, think about all of the music that already sounds like AI. Did you ever hear the song Pop 101 by Marianas Trench?
No.
So it's a song making fun of
know.
writing songs. It's literally, it's a banger of a song.
Yeah.
That's about how viral songs are written. And so it's a pop music 101, some simple instruction.
Oh, I'm sure I've heard this.
Impressions. Yeah. You start with... a minor chord, tensions grow, fade in the bass like so, and they're doing the things, and then there's like a part where they're like, here's some words you can't ignore, like higher, desire, and fire. They're just like listing like, and you're realizing like they have put like 90 viral songs in one 4-minute song, and it totally like disillusions you to like popular music versus you're one of a few very talented musician friends I have who I know their story. So like when I hear their songs, I think I've brought up Rachel Winters on this show before. If people haven't checked out her stuff, you should. Sarah Gibson, who we've been doing shows together now because she's also hilarious. They both have like such raw, good music. And it's like, why has basically now we have AI that can do what the people who were just doing a human version of AI before, and that was like, all right.
Yep. No, that's a huge thing that's going to happen. I mean, pop music is a formula as far as like top 40, and it's the exact same 4 chords all the time. And that's easy to replicate. The lyrics is what's really wild to me, that now somebody could go put in like, hey, this is a thing that happened to me, write a song about it. My partner was just saying the other day, like people are going to be able to go home at night and like put stuff in and make a song about their day. And this is a person who's never done music before ever. So
yeah. And they'll be able to pick a style. They'll be able to give it notes. And it like right now we just used one AI to get lyrics, but I could take that
and make a whole song
to others. And I could turn the lyrics into vocals. I could have it.
You could pick you could have Taylor Swift sing it.
And even more fucked up is a thing that I think is going to discourage a lot of people from being artistic is imagine you were sitting, say you wrote the lyrics and you're like, I feel good about these lyrics. So you sit down with a guitar and you start plugging something out. And you're doing, what is it? GDAC? Are those the 4 chords?
We intentionally don't do that, but yeah.
Yeah. But say that's where you are and you're like, I've got my nice boom, ba boom, ba boom.
Yeah.
And I like this. And then you go to an AI and you go, here are the lyrics. What would you write? and then you hear something that is so technically way better than you're even capable of.
Then why wouldn't you just go? Yeah.
Exactly. I remember
that's why I won't use it. I will not use it. Like when we're sitting there trying to problem solve a lyric, or like I need to come up with another verse, I refuse to do it just on principle.
For sure. And you shouldn't.
It upsets me.
You shouldn't use it. It's like as far as creative goes, like I'm not going to invite AI into my wood shop, right? That's where my creativity comes out. I'm carving shit up.
But if that was a career, I would have to.
Yep.
To keep up.
Yep. Or at the very least, like if I start selling my wood wares, I will have to use AI tools to market, to make content, because now that's the only way. Like if you want to be a successful artistic creator in a lot of things like woodworking, sculpture, painting and stuff, you actually have to primarily make your money on the content you make about the piece that you are selling. Selling the piece actually sometimes doesn't matter at all, whether you sell the piece or not, except just to make more room for more content. It's so sad and discouraging, and it just hurts my heart. But at the same time, I'm like, the moment I had for a while a self-driving car, I don't anymore, because a certain man became an out and out fascist, and I didn't want to associate with his shit anymore. But it never got to like the full self-driving, but its ability took so much away from me that was actually like a point of anxiety and difficult for me to travel along, that it was like a huge life improvement for me.
Yep.
And so things like that.
I had one too. It was great.
And it's so exciting. Oh yeah. It's so exciting for that future. But then at the same time, as I'm celebrating, like, holy crap, when this is like finally done and it's mainstream, this is going to be the fucking best thing. But then also ignoring the fact that like the number one job for non-educated white men, or it might just be non-educated men without a college degree, which makes up the majority of our, not majority, but is the biggest chunk of our economy, for better or worse, is truck drivers. And so it's literally like, I'm excited about this thing that the moment it's considered fully done, can put everybody out of business, out of a job who does that job. And the problem with AI isn't that like, yes, everybody was like, things always develop, when they came out with robots to do whatever job, they had to come out with the people to fix it. Though I feel like that's such a stupid analogy, because it's like every person who was doing the job before didn't then become a machine fixer. Right. One person became it for like per 100, and those people had to go find out. But anyway, whatever, people will bring that up. There's always new jobs. That's not what AI's goal is. AI's goal is coming for everyone's job at the same time. And even like AGI, which is the thing that people don't know when they're talking about, AGI is then that step above, where it's, even if it created a new job, the AI will be able to create a new AI to do the new job too. It's like, y'all,
I hate it so much.
The only thing that I like about it is the potential if humanity gets their shit together. So this is the problem. If humanity gets their shit together.
Imagine that happening.
It'll mean we'll have to abandon by necessity capitalism. We'll have to abandon classes. We'll have to abandon the idea of poverty, which that's going to be hard. Humanity getting their shit together. Rich people do not want poor people to not exist.
No,
then how will they continue to feel rich if poor people don't exist? So we're on this thing of like, if humanity gets their shit together, that would cause a tremendous improvement. But the problem is they probably won't. If we got our shit together, now instead of having the job you had to do, people would just do things they wanted to do. They would just create things they want to make. And that's like utopia. That's we're on the cusp of, even though WALL-E's like WALL-E suggests we're all just going to sit down and be fat and have food pumped into us. I think in reality, if you were unlocked, all your basic needs were met, I think everybody would become a kind of creator, and there'd still be farmers.
Oh, I agree.
Because they wanted to grow farms. Like, what an exciting potential we have, but instead we're just going to kill each other with it.
Right. That's my problem, is that I assume the worst is going to happen with it.
If we even get there, if we like don't kill ourselves because of climate change, if we don't kill ourselves because of every year, a more unhinged person gets access to nukes. This is getting fucking nuts.
It's really not good.
Next year, Donald Trump will have access to nukes again because I think he's going to win. I genuinely
I was saying that from the moment he lost last time.
You're like, he's going to win next time?
He's back. He's coming back, and it's going to be worse.
The world is bleak.
Not good.
Anyway, I would say that I hope everybody watching is having a good time, except for that to be a lie. I don't care.
We're really being buzzkills. Okay, for a moment of positivity, can we show our cute outfits that we didn't even plan? Because look, we're matching.
Ba ba boom. Now I can't pull off a crop top like you can pull off, but
I am wearing a crop top. I'm also wearing sweatpants. I'm definitely like cosplaying as a college student right now somehow. But it's a very cute crop.
I'm also
go buy one.
I'm also rocking the sweatpants right now.
Sweatpants.
That hurt. I am not that flexible. Why?
That was actually, I can't do that. So well done.
Well, if I can walk after this, sure. Go to linemerch.com, linemerch.com, and pick those up now. The birthday competition between Matt and I that'll come to a head on Sunday when we do our show together, and then a winner will be declared. That's all happening. So if you want to get your purchase in while the contest is still going on, I think basically what we're just going to do is whoever loses will wear the other person's merch just for the whole month of April. I think that's probably what it's going to end up being, or it'll be at least 4 times or whatever. But make Matt wear my unafraid to disappoint daddy magical or otherwise. I think you were the first person I sent the design to. I
remember I was like, this is a shirt that I need immediately.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I get that comment like every day on my stuff, like, oh, your daddy must be so disappointed. I was like, well, first of all, we're on good terms. Second of all, he voted for a rapist, so I'm like, I'm okay about it.
Literally nothing delights me more than to disappoint a person who destroyed my family. Like, fine. It's fine. Let me ask you a question. When you see this logo, the thing in the middle, what do you see?
Total honesty?
Yes.
What do I see personally?
Yes.
I see Jesus and a graphic image that closely resembles one of my exes.
Okay. Okay. Here's the reason why I asked that. People are apparently under the impression that I put myself on it. And that this is me from back when I had my long hair phase. And this is me from my more recent short hair phase. People think that because I might be, there's some evidence out there that the whole like Sky Daddy meme becoming more popular was a result of my channel at the time. There's some evidence of that I did. And I had my whole like, I used to have merch that said like Land Daddy in the streets, Sky Daddy in the sheets. Hilarious. The best.
That's amazing. That's actually amazing.
Then, the graphic design wasn't as good back then because I hadn't gotten some. I actually did this one myself. Well, AI does help, and I definitely had it. I had AI's assistance in the not storyboarding, in the draft parts, but this is actually my own PSD file. Yeah. And Arden did Matt's, and but back then the graphics it was just like blue text and then orange text, and I didn't know a thing about like fonts and font matching, and I still am not great, but even just the word wrapping, I had to look up how to do this right because the way I understood how to do it was not very good. Anyway, daddy, people
disappoint daddy, get the shirt.
Hell yeah. Unafraid. Should we take calls? Is that what we're here to do? Do you want to?
Let's do it. Sure. Right. There's somebody that has proof for a God.
I see
here too. That's really exciting. I've been waiting so long for that.
Jared, you are on the line with Jimmy and Eve. Jared, go ahead and give us your proof for God that you say you've brought with you. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, Jared.
Well, I wouldn't.
There we go. We should be able to hear you now.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say I wouldn't necessarily call it proof. I would just call it evidence or reason to believe in God. I'll just start there.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. I sort of take it to be like this novel, testable prediction, right? Such that if we establish that, the atheistic worldview is bankrupt, then that gives us reason to believe that the atheistic worldview is false.
What is the
And
atheist
so I think
worldview?
that the affirmation of the proposition God does not exist.
Incorrect. I mean, if you're wanting to try and talk about, there are specific philosophical, so like strong atheism or positive atheism, that would defend that proposition, especially in the like academic philosophical class place. You are here talking to people who, just like every other day, are going to use the label as it is most associated with in its colloquial form, its public form, if you will, sort of in the same way like the word liberal is associated with the Democrat class, a type of Democrat. However, if you wanted to actually defend liberalism in a real political science environment, you'd actually be talking about something that technically all Americans are.
Right.
So in that same way, when we say atheist, nobody here is giving the positive affirmation that no gods exist. So it sounds to me like you are asking us to defend two things. It sounds like you want us to defend a position we don't hold, and two, that you believe if you found that position inadequate, it would then therefore suggest gods must exist.
That's what throws me off the most. You're saying like this, your entire premise relies on atheism, which is so an incorrect understanding of atheism. But maybe it will still make sense if you keep going and you can instead acknowledge that atheism is just a lack of belief in a God. It's not an assertion that there is no God. And it's certainly not a worldview.
Yeah, so I guess the first thing I could say is I'm not sure how you could use a word wrong unless you're just saying that I'm not using it in this sort of colloquial sense, and I just grant that. But you will at least know what I'm referring to when I'm using the word atheist. That's the first part. The second part is I'm not asking you to defend any view, right, that you don't hold to. So I'm not sure where you got that from. And also, I guess the third thing, which is the other thing that you mentioned, was, I do think that this does add credence. You know, we can talk about how strong of a credence this does add, but I do still hold to the belief that it does add credence to the view. Now, I actually do hold a view. Just to be clear, you guys are saying that you're agnostic towards the triune Christian God?
No, I actually already explained it. I am atheist in the sense that I don't defend positive atheism, which is the philosophical position that you're trying to take. If you just take the word positive away, I am atheist or atheist, or however William Lane Craig likes to put it. I do not hold a belief in a God or a gods. That is the kind of atheist I am.
Yeah, and
same
is that because
same
you
here.
suspend judgment? Yeah, and is that because you suspend judgment?
I think there's a combination of things. I will say I'm a positive atheist when it comes to propositions of specific gods. However, I am incapable of I'm incapable of proving that with certainty that there is no God anywhere. So while I suspect there are no gods because I don't see a reason for it, and the concept of God seems to be very easily explained as something made up by man, something a person, broken clocks can be right twice a day, and I can't prove that in making up gods we didn't also have a broken clock. Agnosticism, I would say I am agnostic also, because I would suggest that I do not know whether or not a God exists. However, I am an atheist because I do not believe that a God exists. One is know, one is believe.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the God claim is unfalsifiable. And so that's why I refer to myself more as agnostic atheist. But I do not hold belief in a God at all. So I'm still atheist, even though I'm also agnostic about the general God claim.
Yeah, well, just to be clear, towards the triune Christian God, so we can sort of get a little bit more specific here. Are you saying, because you said that there are some gods that you believe that don't exist?
Yes.
Do you take the view that the triune Christian God does not exist?
I think I do. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have like a reason to believe that, or an argument that establishes that conclusion?
We could potentially get there. I'd rather hear your proof of God first, but it's probably the very same reasons that you don't accept. Well, no, I guess it's not, because you probably don't accept that the Muslim God and other gods exist, because you do accept that the Christian one does, and therefore you eliminate the others just on that possibility. But it's sort of the thing I already mentioned before. I think that the Bible is I think the Bible is very conspicuous in its human nature, and that it appears to be human made. And the conclusion draws from further from that the Bible, I certainly think, is a product of humanity and not any sort of God. And that's why I go there.
Jared,
Okay,
are you
and
able to
what
tell us what
conclusion?
your evidence? Are you able to tell us what your evidence for God is without bringing up any other worldview? Like, can you just say this is that my evidence for believing in a God, or is it reliant upon other people's beliefs or disbeliefs? Because I think it would be more interesting to just hear your evidence.
No, yeah. Well, I was providing evidence, but I could provide like some sort of like syllogistic proof for God if that's another thing that you'd be looking for.
What did you call in wanting to share? Because it seems like you're trying to turn it and do. I already did a call the other day with somebody who was trying to basically make the case for God on the basis of negative theism, and that's I have very little interest because it's about as pedantic as arguing with a presuppositionalist. So when you told the screener, and I know you've called in other times, and I know the way those calls have gone. When you told the screener that you were calling in and you have proof that God, proof for God, what did you mean by those phrases?
By proof, I mean I can sort of establish a sound argument that concludes that the triune Christian God exists.
Haven't you and I done this before?
No, I don't believe so.
I think we have, but go ahead. Give me your syllogism.
Yeah, so I guess the syllogism would just start with premise 1, which would be intelligibility exists if and only if God exists. Premise 2 would be that intelligibility does exist, and then the conclusion would necessarily derive, which is that God exists.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be the syllogism.
That's going to be your and so basically you're defending that it's sound, right?
Yeah.
But are you defending that it's also valid?
Yeah.
Go ahead and defend the validity, because I think I can see the soundness. Let me hear it again. Let me hear your 3 again. I'm going to write them down to make sure I'm covering them. It was that intelligibility exists only if God exists.
Yeah, well, just to be clear, right? Validity is a part of what it means for an argument to be sound. And this is just going to be a biconditional, right? So if and only if. So intelligibility exists if and only if God exists, right? That's premise 1. Premise 2 is going to be intelligibility does exist. And then the conclusion that would necessarily follow is that God exists.
Yeah, and you're right. I did have it reversed. A sound argument is one where you have found that the premises are valid and true. And so you said from the onset that you do believe it is sound. I'm saying I see the validity, but not necessarily the soundness. That if you said everything does follow, there's not a problem with the structure of the syllogism, but for it to be sound, the premises would need to be true. And so your premise 1 was intelligibility exists if and only if God exists. So 1, we could take issue with that premise because I don't know how you could possibly prove that premise.
Yeah, how did you reach that conclusion?
And you can either take that one or even just premise 2. How do you demonstrate that the premise God exists is true? It's weird because you've presented a syllogism that contains within it the thing we actually care about, but then has well, go on. I'll just let you take it from here.
Yeah. So that's we're just going to mark this up to be tracking failure number 1, because premise 2 was not that God exists, so that wouldn't be begging the question. Premise 2 was just that intelligibility exists, so that's actually not going to be an attack on the argument.
Right. That's fine. Intelligibility exists if and only if God exists. So premise 1 is the one that I need you to demonstrate is true.
Yeah, and so I guess my sort of justification for this is, and we can sort of break this down via a proposition.
Just make it no. Okay, Jared, just make it fucking quick. Because honestly, the more you talk, the more I remember your other calls, and the more I remember how pedantic you are. I remember how condescending you are, how much you think that you understand philosophy, even though on multiple calls it's been shown that you actually don't, but you've learned these specific arguments. So why don't you just share the evidence? Intelligibility exists and if you're saying you need a long amount of time to present something, Jared, I'm not saying you can't do that, but on a call-in format where we're talking to people and mostly we are talking to lay people for a lay audience. We aren't doing essentially thesis evaluation. If you would like to do something like a thesis evaluation, I would say that that is going to be done more in the form of a show that is a longer form debate, where we are offering you the time and support, where the people who are responding also have time to prepare and make sure that they are ready off the cuff. That is what I would want to see. But I'm remembering calls you had with Matt. I think I have talked before, but I'm also remembering the ones you had with Dave and Stacy, where you were such a condescending asshole that I'm even less interested. So if you want to apply, you can email us, contact@qanaline.com, and I'll see if anybody wants to actually take you as a debate opponent. But if you want to have a conversation like two normal people that is fitting and appropriate for a call-in format where you've
because there's a lot of
prepared
definitions
script.
we would need
Right.
too, like even the definition of intelligible, and we'd have to agree on all of that.
And you've sat here and prepared clearly a script that you feel like follows beautifully, and you're trying to call and have that assessed in what is essentially a show about having conversations. If you want to do it as a debate, we're launching more debate shows. Shoot us an email at contact@qanaline.com. But frankly, I've already heard the beginning of the condescensions, and I don't otherwise have any interest. So do you want to apply for the debate shows, I guess is the question.
So just to be clear, you're like running away from me because you can't interact with.
Just
the
to be clear,
proposition?
Jared, I think that you are a whiny little bitch, and that already Matt and I, if I'm remembering my own call correctly, have owned your ass up and down the court, but that you come back with the same script that you mildly try to change, and that you think your victory comes in by being a condescending cunt face. So condescending cunt face, now that you've just jumped all the way to because you're afraid and you're going to run away and da-da-da-da-da, you may contact at qanaline.com.
He just offered you the ability.
I don't give a shit. Literally.
Yeah, he offered you to be on the show. I would take him up on that offer. If you feel like you have a really good argument and you could come get an entire show devoted to you, like if you actually care about the thing you're presenting, if you think you truly have evidence of a God, I think you would say, thank you so much, Jimmy. I really appreciate that. Yes, I'll apply.
Literally offered you greater platform, greater time to explain. You're sitting here talking about how you want to explain each element of each proposition, and your response is, so you're afraid, you're running away? Jared,
he doesn't want to talk to somebody.
I'm terrified. I'm so scared, even though I've already just fucking destroyed you before, and Matt's done it on multiple occasions, to the point that it was clear you couldn't understand and track what Matt was saying. It happened multiple times. So Matt, I believe, actually banned you from calling a show. Jared, I give a fuck. Goodbye. You may apply for the things, and if you do, perhaps I'll see you there. Peace out. I'm so scared of you, though.
That's my frustration with this like apologetics approach, where they have a script and all of that, because at the end of the day, these people aren't, he said he believes in the Christian God or whatever, however he exactly worded it. If you actually believe that shit and you think you have real evidence, why wouldn't you be excited at an opportunity to fully present that evidence and have your whole episode devoted to you? It's not genuine. It's not real. You're right. It is a script, and there's no transformation and renewal of their mind and heart. And now they're amazing people and they have something to share with everyone. It's fucking infuriating.
Interesting too how callers like him don't spend much time, which is funny because atheists like myself do this for our own organization. They don't spend, or their own group, they don't spend much time criticizing or trying to correct the fact that if his reasons for believing, which by the way, he was only, the thing he was trying to go through at best could get you to deism. And I remember, I think that was the conversation he and I had where he tried to jump from deism to triune, and it was nonsensical. But people like him don't spend a lot of time correcting. If he's correct, then virtually all Christians believe in God for terrible reasons but him, besides him.
Right.
And so he's not going in like, hey, you guys with your stories of faith affirmation through inspiration or finding your belt because you prayed, that all sucks. It's funny, the reason why they don't, while I don't know this caller, and I'm sure he'll take issue if we ever have him back on because he calls in, or he actually does apply to do the debate thing.
Sure.
They're going to these things and they're going, yeah, actually it's because I found my keys when I prayed. Like they're sharing those types of stories, and they begin with this, I'm absolutely confident that, I remember I was this way. I'm so confident that it's true that I don't understand why it's not obviously true to everyone else. And then from there, one of two things happens, because this is what led to my deconversion. For me, my deconversion was, it's so obviously true, surely I can prove it to everyone else. And then I went and I looked for the proof, and it turned out the proof
it wasn't there.
It don't work.
That's basically what happened to me too. I was like, oh, I want to make this my full-time thing that I go convince other people of. So let me go learn about other people's religions and history and science so I can prove to them this is real. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Actually.
Or the second option is you have such a fart-smelling arrogance, your own fart-smelling. My farts are manna from heaven. That is that you cannot address the idea that you might be wrong. So you stick with the, no, it's obviously true. But what I need to do is dress this up in language and increase the amount by which I can be condescending and speak down to others as I do the, I see that you just don't understand. The whole thing, it's not the actual reasons these people believe. It literally is a faith thing. And it's funny because in other circles, they'll admit faith is an element. But if faith is an element, then none of the other stuff it makes any sense.
Right.
To say you have a logical way. And by the way, Jared, if Jared had pulled anything off, you would be a fucking published, I don't even know if it'd be just the Nobel Prize. Everyone would just be like, holy shit, he figured it out. But instead, you think you figured out a little word problem that's going to stump people. And then as soon as there's any sort of mix up, in terms of, the stupid shit I was saying, you didn't recite my script back to me perfectly. Therefore, now I'm going to start being condescending. You're just a fucking dick. If you want to be a condescending dick, start a call-in show like I did, you fucking asshole. Fucking jeez.
Jimmy.
Go fuck yourself. All right.
Oh,
anyway,
man.
However, I'm only condescending to asshole. It's kind of like I enjoy being a condescending asshole, so I've created a show that both brings to me other assholes.
Enabling
who
other assholes,
But it also brings to me lovely people who are ready to have very honest discussions, who I hope are the people that we have currently in the queue that we're about to take more calls from. Because I also love the non-condescending, we're two humans trying to work things out. And in fact, if things go the way I hope it's going to go, the very first episode of Dual Logs may be scheduled soon. And I am actually going to bring on as my opponent for the first episode. Now, I probably won't even be on most of the episodes of Dual Logs, but since it's the one, the format I created and the one that I think is just better than everybody else's because I'm that kind of egotistical asshole, I thought it would be good to model for everyone what I think that show should look like. And I'm going to bring on for my first opponent, if they are agreeable. I'm still waiting for confirmation and I'm explaining it to them. But if they are agreeable, I'm actually bringing on a Christian who I like more than almost every atheist. A person who, and that's going to be the point, is like showing that you can actually have very productive debate style things with people if you just remember that, one, the concept of winning a debate is a stupid concept. And two, you're supposed to address the audience, not, hey, you fucking idiot with your stupid shoes.
Right. You're running away.
Why are you dating a trans woman? Like the people who always try to fucking attack Matt, and where it's like, yeah, I know I came to discuss whether or not God is real, but you're dating a trans woman, so why don't we do that instead, fucker? Like it's just
infuriating.
So stupid.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, we're gonna do it up. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna get on to the next theist, who is Cody in Georgia. Cody in Georgia.
This
You're
is
on the
so
line
interesting to
with
me.
Jimmy and Eve. How you doing, Cody?
Hi, Cody.
Hello. Thanks for letting me on the show.
Hi. You're not just Jared in a trench coat, are you?
No, I'm just wearing like a Gryffindor shirt. Just chilling.
Hell yeah. All right, Cody. What are you calling for?
So I will say this, like just to start, I wouldn't call myself a theist. I don't really consider myself any subcategory of this. I'm just aware. Simple.
Do you believe that a God exists?
God does exist. It's not really a matter of belief. People can believe in it or not believe in it.
That's not what she asked.
Sure, but do you believe that a God exists? That's what I want to know.
I base my reasoning on probability.
Yeah, but do you believe it? Do you believe, like, based on what you figured out, based on what you think is fact, do you believe that fact that you think is true? Sounds like you do, but I'm just trying to, like...
It's so convincing that I guess I could say I believe it, but belief isn't the word I personally use. If you'd like to categorize it as that, that's fine.
Do you know that there's a God?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you're a Gnostic theist. You know and you believe that there's a God.
I guess you said it. I've been an
Okay,
atheist
cool.
before, and I had to update my understanding of the universe, so I'm there now.
Okay. For the record, Cody, this is going poorly because right now it sounds like you're going to try and explain to us very advanced concepts that you think lead to God exists, when failing to fundamentally understand that you can't say you know something but don't believe it also. If I say, I know I have
I could say
if
I
I
know
say
reality
I know,
exists, I could look around me and see it.
and you would also say you believe it. And I know that I have
I wouldn't
drink
say so.
in this glass, but I
Sure.
also believe it. You are
Right.
a theist.
Okay,
These
I'm
are
going to abide by your wording. Yes, I believe it.
okay.
This is your wording. I'll
Yes.
roll with it.
Yeah, as opposed to you're very special, you're the only person who would use any other definition. I appreciate that you're abiding by the public meaning, the common meaning, and what these words mean, and especially what these words mean. I don't even have to go with society, just when we talk about atheists and theists on this show, we have clearly lined it out. If you believe in God,
Well, pardon my
you're a
phrasing.
theist, and you believe in God, so
Yeah,
you are a theist.
Yeah, it's just important. This is not a gotcha. It's important for us to know what you're coming to us with, and we use words as humans that we have agreed on the definition of so that we can communicate. And if we can't even figure out this part, then how do we move forward in the conversation? So you
And I'll be
believe that
honest,
there's a
I'm
God.
cynical.
Well, I'll start talking.
You know there's a God. How do you know that there's a God?
So it's pretty simple. You look around you, you see something, and there's a deeper concept of that. The deeper concept is what makes this something? What makes this patternized state that we live in actually exist? What causes the fluidity and the harmony? What causes the particles to stabilize? What concept, above all else, actually causes particles to exist? And you can look at that. You can look at like quantum fields. You can look at all sorts of different phenomena. And then you can always come to the same conclusion. There's a lot we don't know. And that's testable. We really don't know a lot. Dark matter, dark energy, theory of everything, simple things that we don't know. And, I have a couple of theories, pretty decent ones, that I actually explain on my YouTube channels. But
Cody,
as of
did
now,
you call
existence of
Wednesday?
God. What?
Did you call on Wednesday? Or am I just
I've never talked to you before in my life.
okay? So it's just that Christians have all come up with this one sort of defense. All right, Cody, are you a Christian otherwise, or is this your deistic defense?
I'm going to go ahead and validate all religions. All religions are valid. You can call them delusional. You could say you know something they don't know. Or you consider that other people are actually
What about
intelligent and
religions?
something, understand something
Real
that
quick.
you just don't
What about
comprehend. And
religions
that's
that
fine.
claim there
Everybody's
is
subjective.
only one God? What about religions that claim there's only one God, and then other religions that make it clear that there's tons of gods? How do those not invalidate each? You cannot validate all religions because automatically many of them start canceling each other out. So how are you validating those?
The term God is subjective. You could say God is omnipotent being that reigns over everything. You could say God is the universe, God is aware.
All right, Cody.
You could say God is coding, God is Thor.
Cody. I'm going to tell
It's
you that
based
this
upon
call is
personal
probably going to end
categorization.
very soon because this is, again, we're just getting into pedantry, special definition, special pleading. It's so full of fallacies that it's bananas that you're talking about this is knowledge and truth. But you said that you can validate all religions. We're talking about the word validate. So to validate,
Valid.
if we were to say that the
That's where
Christian
you-
religion, Cody, I don't need your help.
Mhm.
I don't need your help. We can talk one at a time. For the Christian religion to be valid, the individual Jesus Christ needs to have come to earth, died, and be resurrected 2,000-ish years ago, correct?
Correct, and that's actually historically valid. Maybe not every single instance, every single
Cody,
detail.
I don't
But
need help.
historians, they're all
Cody,
very,
stop
very
assuming. Cody,
certain that
stop.
what it exists.
Cody, stop assuming that you know where I'm going with this. And
There was a
just
pause, sir.
when I yes, I asked you a correct conversation. I asked you a sentence. You said correct. Now the follow-up question to further clarify, instead of the direction you were going, do you believe that it is the literal history of this planet that Jesus Christ did in fact come to earth, died, and was resurrected? That is the literal, physically happened in reality, the same way you and I, in the history of this planet, it will always be true that you and I had this conversation, regardless of if people believe it or not. Do you?
Lord Yeshua came and rose, and he was nailed to a cross.
And he was crucified and resurrected.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that it is the literal history that Joseph Smith...
As the history of the universe?
Excuse me. Wait for me to finish. Do you believe it is the literal history of this world that at 14 years old, Joseph Smith went into a clearing in Palmyra, New York, prayed to God, asked which church was true, and was met by the physical personages of God and Jesus Christ, separate individuals with physical bodies, and was then informed that no church was true and that he would restore the actual true religion of God?
I will say I'm not familiar with Joseph Smith.
I don't care whether you're familiar with Joseph Smith.
You just said that you would validate all religions.
Are valid, and I've just informed you of the Mormon claim of the first vision. So if all religions are valid, I didn't ask if you were a Mormon. I asked you if all religions were valid, and you said
sorry,
yes.
You're just moving slow. I'm in like a hyperfixated mode. I'm ready
Cody,
to talk.
I get it. So just answer the questions and understand that you are we are interrogating you if that is the way you want to have it. You
and
claimed,
that's not fun.
I don't. Well, that's the show. You're calling in to explain what you believe and have that investigated. Okay, great.
I apologize.
I'm glad you're having fun. Now start answering the actual questions. Did you or did you not say all religions are valid? Just answer that, nothing else.
I said this. Not every single detail in the religion is valid, but they all come from some kind of aspect.
Okay, so what part of all religions is valid? What is the one thing about all religions that you think is valid? If you're saying that it's not all parts.
Look at Hinduism, I could say that Hinduism have understanding of spiritual practices, like the, say, chakra networks, which are just energy centers. They could be potentially made of, say, dark matter that we can't observe, can't test. And that's
you're
Hinduism.
Just picking and choosing
every single religion. We could go to
you're
Taoism.
just picking and choosing little parts from different religions that you think sound good to you, but you're also invalidating the religion, because if you say that you think Jesus Christ is actually God, then I can tell you there's some religions out there who are automatically going to be like, that is in direct conflict with what we believe.
Yeah, the problem here is you're automatically using.
Then don't say that you validate all.
You're automatically using phrasing, Cody. Cody, stop. No, Cody, that isn't what you said at first. You are now doing that as you are hiding behind.
All religions are valid.
Cody, all right. You are now muting. I didn't say you were hiding. You are muted because you cannot listen and you can't shut up. I imagine you're talking right now, and I don't even you're muted, and I literally can't see it, and I imagine you're still talking.
Oh,
the reason you are muted is because you are not engaging with what is actually being said. Earlier, you did not say aspects of all religions are valid. You said all religions are valid. Then when put to the test, and I wanted to keep going, but we couldn't because you can't stay online. When put to the test, it turns out you believe one religion, and it appears to be the Christian religion, is in totality valid and actually external to the self is the only one that has full validity or full truth or the most, but that every other religion has an aspect of validity, and you believe that that in some way affirms your religion. It's funny because every other religion exists. That makes your religion even more true. And it's so funny that you said you're not familiar with Joseph Smith or Mormonism, because that's literally the claim of Mormonism. Mormons believe that they have the total religion, but that every other religion has some piece, that Christianity has more pieces than the others, but that the desire to seek God comes from Mormon principles, even amongst Hindus, even amongst Jews, even amongst Muslims. You have not presented anything that is remotely close to truth. You are not using words the actual way that we, as all humans coming, you're not speaking the common tongue. You're speaking the Cody tongue. Well, when I said valid, what I meant were aspects of validity. You are, I think, obviously a Christian who, once again, much like Jared, thinks that you can appeal to these larger concepts. And then I have to only assume that the conclusion is the reason why so many religions are all doing the same thing, that it is so popular for so many people to seek a God and see a God and all of that, is because they are all pointing toward some truth, and that is that aspect they all have in common. But the aspects that are in addition, that's part of the spiritual journey, man. This is bong hit theology, just starting with Christianity, and it is so boring. So Cody, do you have any actual proof of the God? Because so far your I know statement is just a faith statement. So go ahead, Cody, with your actual proof that a God, or the Christian God, which is clearly the one you would defend, actually in reality exists the way we all do.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you're unmuted now. Did you listen?
I listened to every single thing, and no, actually, I wasn't talking.
Great.
And
Go
just
ahead.
so you know, my categorization of God is that God is the dynamic universe around you.
Cody,
God
what
is
did I
literally
just ask
existence
you?
that is aware.
Cody, what did I just ask you before I
What
unmuted
did you
you?
just ask me?
Tell me.
Are we trying to talk into this conversation, or are you trying to have like
I am trying to prove that you just said you listened and you didn't, because I
I'm ready
ended
just to
everything
talk,
I
man.
just said
I feel like I'm
with
just
a
talking to
request.
somebody who's just trying to get me in as a fucking reference and make look
No,
bad.
Cody, I'm
doesn't-
trying to talk to
He
somebody
asked
that
you a
when
good
I ask a
question.
question, they fucking answer the goddamn question. That's the nature of a conversation. And the fucked up thing, Cody, is if you had just all along answered mine and Eve's questions, by now you would have been given the opportunity to probably say every other stupid thing that you were trying to say. The point of this, Cody, is that you are not answering questions. You are here to say a thing and aren't much interested in anything else. Call back when you learn to listen and when you can repeat the question you were just asked, because you actually listened and didn't just have your ear holes open, because that appears to be another thing you are equivocating on, and another word, listen, that you are using incorrectly. We're up to like 19 special Cody words. Goodbye, Cody. Not doing that call either. Fucking goddamn.
People are excited to call and get to talk, and they're not understanding that we're having a conversation, and that requires answering questions back and forth, especially if they're the ones making the claim. This is not just like, here, now you get to host the show and talk about random shit. Other people are listening, and they want to hear the answer to specific questions of these claims that people are calling in with. So if anybody's hearing this and you're a theist and you want to call, please call to have an actual conversation, and not just like go host a YouTube show if that's what you want to do. That's always cool.
Yeah, he mentioned his YouTube channel. I'm sure he's very
Yeah.
distressed that he didn't have a chance to plug it, because that was probably the actual goal of the call.
If I was a theist, I would want to listen clearly and I would want to answer clearly so that I could get my point across. I wouldn't want to go on some random tangent that's skipping around the questions that are being asked. But whatever, I'm not a theist, so
we're literally asking clarifying questions. Like, you called
Right.
in pretending you were this deist with this universalist position, this like Zen, everybody's
and
everything
he's a
man.
Christian. Yeah.
And then it was revealed you were just call in and admit what you are from the onset. Just don't play these stupid games, and certainly don't play stupid games with no, I know, I don't believe. That's such a dumb thing to say.
That's so similar to say like, oh, I believe that whatever he was trying to say. He's not a theist, but he does think he knows there's a God. I mean, that is like as theistic as you can get. It's the exact same vibe as people that are like, oh, I don't have religion. I have a relationship with Jesus. By definition, you're practicing religion when you engage in this supposed relationship. So fuck out of here with that. Like, just making shit up.
The whole thing was just, oh, don't delete the people being sarcastic. By the way, I want to remind the mods, people are allowed to attack me. We don't allow other people to be, but whoever took down, and by the one person that
also, I don't care.
Was,
you can talk shit about me too.
Well, the hard part is like, I allow it on me because I don't really give a fuck. The way in which people, if they're given total permission, I like the rule. But you are you, Eve, obviously. I like the rule.
I just get the worst things I've ever heard every day on Instagram anyways. So it's like, whatever. I truly don't list all of my worst, ugliest qualities and don't engage with what I'm actually talking about. Please. That actually makes me even happier about what I do. So
it's funny too, because like when you try to put a line where it's like, it's fine to say like a nice, pleasant compliment. If you want to say something like, so-and-so looks nice today or whatever, We don't really care that much about that, but keep your horny ones to yourself. And then people try to figure out where the line
how
between
to be
nice,
horny without
exactly. Yeah. And so at a certain point, there was a period of time. I think right now we're back in the like relax, try to delete as many comments as possible, but don't be obviously weird or creepy. But there's a period of time where we're like, all right, too many of you are trying to fuck with finding the line, and it's anytime a woman comes on the show, and God forbid they have cleavage, because then it just goes up the fucking like, oh my God, it's so frustrating. Anyway, as I say, oh my God, let's talk to. I feel like I'm having such deja vu today. John in New Jersey. John, you are on the line with Eve and Jimmy. John, are you going to behave?
Yeah, I'm going to behave, right?
Excellent. Thank you, John. If you are asked a question, will you answer it?
Yeah, that's right.
I adore you already. All right, go ahead, John. What are you calling to share?
Yeah, I mean, so just as background, right? The general sort of stratagem I employ in arguing against atheism, which I sort of take to be a class act view, right? But we could get there, is going to be involving, right, furnishing the ontological status of logically necessary propositions, right? Which is going to include stuff like the law of excluded. Sorry. What did I do?
Contact at Q&Aline.com if you want to have a debate. We're not doing you. I don't even think, John. I actually think you're a troll. Why
would
caller.
you evade the conversation?
I actually think you're a troll caller. I think that this is a joke.
You need to refurbish the proposition.
I think that you heard Jared. I think you heard Jared's call and you went, I can sound even more like I love the smell of my own farts. I don't even think you're really a theist. I think you're an atheist calling in to try and fuck with me. So John, contact at Q&Aline.com if you'd like to potentially be on a debate in the future.
Before you go, I'd like to sort of just refurbish, right, the truth values of the relevant propositions in question, such that I can see whether or not you're actually going to disagree.
John, I'm accidentally going to slip in 5 seconds. I'm going to accidentally hit the drop call.
If you can't control yourself.
Oh, that was 5 seconds. Sorry. I don't even believe that was a real call.
Damn, I was so excited to actually have a real conversation.
I was excited to have a conversation about the thing that they put in the notes, which is part of why I don't think it was a real call, because they called in with a completely different, they started saying a completely different thing. So basically they were going to defend that essentially they think there are philosophical problems with having a non-Christian worldview, was allegedly what they were calling in to defend. And that is not the case. And they just, again, started wanting to throw out, I'm not doing it. The way nobody's testifying on these fucking things. If you want to have the debate about a philosophical debate, I don't care. This is a cause I wanna, especially tonight is cause I wanna. Maybe I would do it on the Sunday show, but in reality, I'd sit back and see if Matt wanted to. Otherwise, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the title of our episode tonight, though?
No. Oh, we're atheists. Of course we want to. Yeah,
of course you want to debate.
Yeah, and I'm happy to. But fucking, if you're gonna call in,
it's a call-in show debate.
Human. Yeah. Stop with your fucking scripts. Let's talk about the real reasons you testify to other people why God exists and is in a part of your whatever.
Yeah.
But I legitimately think John was joking. There's apparently a different Jared from Kentucky, allegedly. A different Jared from Kentucky.
Please be a different Jared.
Let's find out. Jared from Kentucky, are you really a different Jared?
Yeah, I'm different. I swear. I swear to God, I'm different.
Hi, Jared.
I swear to God, that's worth a lot for me. What would a liar say?
We'll call you different, Jared.
Yeah.
I swear to myself.
Say something only a different Jared would know. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. Apparently, there's more than one, but I won't be an asshole. I swear. But
I don't
basically, well, I'll try my best.
I'll be nice.
Well, the premise of the question was more of like a conversational understanding. I work in a church now, and so Eve, I don't know if that's your real name. You obviously worked with church stuff, and so you understand sometimes it's a beautiful place, but it can be a little bit constrictive. And so I don't have all the same variety of conversations I used to have, during education and whatnot. And it's the path of life I've chosen, sure, but it does restrict me from, exploring and understanding different views I might have questions of in the same way I used to. And so what I kind of have question of is, if you take a point of perspective being an atheist that there are no options for any other deity to exist beyond. Not like an I don't know, but like there's definitively, I know for a fact there's not. Because even as a Christian, I can't 100% say what is.
Jared, let's interrupt here because you're taking a long time to get there, and I just want to ask you simply, who here do you think has that position between Eve and myself?
Yeah, well, just this is based around my understanding of the word atheist. If you say you're an atheist, I make assumptions.
Yes.
Right?
So atheist just means a lack of belief in a God, and that can vary on a scale of, saying I know there's no God or saying I don't know but I don't believe. All atheist means is I just don't believe that there is one. I would believe that there was a God if I was given a good reason to believe that. I think that's probably the same for Jimmy. And nobody's ever given me good reason to. I do this work every single day and I hear arguments for it every day. So that's it's not like I've chosen atheism. I haven't said like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I picked this one. And it's not like I've heard, well, this one makes the most sense. It's just that I don't believe there's a God because none of the claims I've heard have been backed by anything. So does that help make sense? And that's what most people mean when they say they're an atheist. It just means they don't believe there's a God.
Yeah, because I mean, the definitive difference then between like an agnostic would be the agnostic would say, well, there's a possibility, I just don't know, right?
No.
So no, that's not accurate either. I call myself an agnostic atheist in that I think that the God claim, the general God claim, is unfalsifiable. I can't know for sure if there is or isn't. I can't have that knowledge.
Okay.
But I don't believe because I don't have that knowledge. So why would I believe something that I don't have the knowledge of? I also know agnostic Christians who claim they don't know if there's a God or not, but they still believe and they still practice. So does that kind of help clarify some of those words for you?
Which category I find myself in? That's a lot more clarifying. Thank you.
I'll tell you the main definition in case if you're having trouble in the future with it. The main phrase you used in your definition that was actually the wrong part for agnostic for me was, it's a possibility, but I don't know. Agnosticism has no commentary on possibility. In fact, God, to my knowledge, not only has God not been sufficiently been shown to believe, or not been shown sufficiently to exist, it also hasn't actually been shown to be possible. No one has established the possibility that there is a God. So while we don't know whether a God is possible or not, the fact that we don't know doesn't therefore make God possible. So I'm not one of those anything is possible people because I don't believe that anything is possible. And until you show me that a God is even possible, I'm first going to say I don't believe in a God, and I do not currently hold the belief that God is possible, which to the notes that you gave to the screener, I'm almost more interested in. Because it's the concept of excluding many perspectives. I am entirely happy to exclude perspectives until they have demonstrated they deserve inclusion, not the other way around. And so people act like open-minded means you accept that everybody could be right. I go with the people I accept could be right are the people who have shown they could be right. Otherwise, I'm going to, as a practical matter, live as though they are all either unsupported or just flat out wrong. So while I'm not going to say for sure no God exists, there's so much conspicuous reasons to believe that God is a man-made concept that I do live as though not just that I don't know if he exists, I live as though he doesn't exist like many other man-made concepts.
Okay, so like guilty until proven innocent kind of an approach.
I would say I'm waiting for him to be proven guilty of existing. I don't think I have to reverse it.
Sure, yeah.
Fair enough.
I'd say innocent of existence until proven guilty of it.
Jared, is that what you meant by exclude? What was your main thing that you wanted to say? Was it, talk about how if you're an atheist, you're not getting other perspectives, or what was your main point? Because I want to make sure we really touch on that.
Well, I'm ADHD as hell. What did they write down? Because I was just kind of like,
that taking the atheist stance excludes many perspectives.
Yes, yeah, but that was based, I guess, upon my understanding, based upon all my previous conversations, what atheism is. Just basically simply saying that if you take a stance that there's no possibility for God, well, I mean, that is a basic stance to preclude a possibility beyond the reason. It exalts human reasoning to a pedestal that's just simply not feasible, natural, or ironically reasonable. And I do believe there is an end to reason that a reasonable person will be aware of, for the most part, to include that as a possibility. Not saying that, like what was previously said, I don't take every single idea as every single one's plausible, because it's one I haven't encountered yet. I mean, don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out of the back of your skull.
Right.
But at the same point, there is a knowledge of human reasoning having its limits, and leaving room for a possibility for something beyond. I mean,
Wait, Jared,
we go all the way
Jared,
back
hang on,
to
hang on.
Go for it.
And I appreciate you, Jared. I understand your personality, because I think I have a similar one where you start off with a concept and then you want to explain every branch of it. I totally get it, but we don't need more metaphors. We're good on it. Is it when you say leaving room for possibility, it sounds like you want some sort of soft positive affirmation, like I am okay with the idea that there's a God or something like that. Whereas it's almost like you're leaving it in this category, this neutral category. But again, you need to remember, and it's a point to this and a point to something else you said, but you need to remember the category that unproven things are, or things that might be possible but haven't been shown, isn't it's possible and anything's possible. It's nothing has even shown that it is possible. I'm not even saying you have to prove to me God exists. You first have to prove to me God is possible before I accept it as a possibility. Now, if you can prove to me it exists, you're going to do both. But the other thing that you said was there's these limits to human reasons, these limits to human knowledge. And Jared, here's my problem with that. I agree. How do I tell the difference between a question that is unanswered for now versus will be unanswered forever? Or, to put differently, how do I tell the difference between a question that is impossible to answer and a question that will be answered one day, but so far is unanswered?
Yeah. This sounds horrible, and it's entirely incredible. So I'm going to preface it with that, but it's the gut. And there's something each of us have, almost like a person who loses a limb.
Yeah, Jared, again, I don't need metaphors. I know what you mean by the gut. I get it.
Yeah.
Jared, you're so wrong. So wrong in so many ways. Because, Jared, think about it. People in the past were so sure about what is and isn't explainable by the natural world that they then started filling in the gaps with God for mild things like the weather. Sure. So a person in the past would have said, the weather is a thing I don't understand, and my gut tells me it's ununderstandable. Therefore, I need the guy who controls the weather. For us to do that today is creating a new God of the gaps. And what I'm telling you is, hang on. I'll give it to you in a second, Jared. I promise. You and I can address the same questions. Where did life come from? What was abiogenesis? What happened before the Big Bang? Is that even a question that makes any sense? What set the Big Bang into motion? What is dark matter? All of these things that we don't know, that lots of religious people go, those questions are unanswerable. And that's where I'm going to put my God in. I have no idea if those questions are unanswerable. I suspect they aren't. I hope they aren't. And one day, I hope we answer them. But to make the presumption that they are unanswerable is just as illogical to me as making the presumption that God is behind them. We don't know what we don't know. And we should presume nothing beyond the I don't know.
Well, see, I think the way that you proposed that question the first time shows a little bit of a discrepancy with, I think, how it was understood. And so tell me if I'm wrong. You said there's basically this, how do we go as far to know what can never be known and what is just something we don't know yet? And that's where my idea of the gut goes towards.
All right, that's what I was disagreeing with. I give a specific example, Jared. Let's go with the question of abiogenesis. Science does not know how, now, this doesn't mean there aren't hypotheses and even good ones. But for the moment, on the planet Earth, we do not know what the first moment of life was, where something that was non-self-replicating and couldn't pass along its genetic code went from that state to the state of being able to do that. We don't know what that is. Now, how, Jared, do you and I determine whether that is a question that will never be answered or just hasn't been answered yet?
Oh, well, it came from somewhere, and we're responsible for what we do know.
Jared,
right?
Jared, that's not the question I asked. I'm just gonna say it again and assume that there's maybe a comprehension error.
Sure.
Don't worry about what the answer to the question of where did life come from is. That's not what I'm asking
Concept
you.
of it. Yes,
I'm asking you about
knowing.
the question itself. Where did life
Yeah.
come from? I'm sitting here and going, I want to know whether or not where did life come from is an unanswerable question or a will be answered one day question. What should I do to figure out what the answer to that is?
No, that's what I was going towards. You're responsible for what you know, and you have a multitude of senses and your capacity to be able to explore the world around you, as we have, over the course of generations. Mankind has garnered knowledge from its exposure to the environment, to its exposure to the natural realm, and through series of being able to record down our experiences, we have accumulated more and more information. And those are all indicators towards a direction. It's not definitive or any way, but the fact that there has been progress from somewhere towards an end, where it's continually narrowed down and narrowed down, we see scientific principles that have been toppled. The church, for some reason, thought that the earth was the center of the
Jared,
universe.
you're going on again. You're giving
yeah, it feels like you're
parallels
trying to answer a different question. He just wants to know how can you know if a question is knowable or not, if the answer to a question is knowable.
Yes,
let me see if I can
saying.
give you a quick version of what I think your answer is trying to get to, Jared. Are you trying to basically say you would assess with the knowledge that you do have and sort of establish within yourself a likelihood based on that knowledge of whether it's going to go that direction or not? So, for example, Jimmy, would essentially decide on the basis that I am aware of theories of abiogenesis that is more likely to be answered naturally because we're making progress on working on it. Is that?
Yes, progress.
Okay. Jared,
progress.
What do you think? My answer is not the same as yours. Could you guess what my answer is?
I could not. I don't know you well enough to.
Okay.
But
from an atheist perspective, an I don't believe perspective, or let me give you even better, because it doesn't really matter that we're atheists. It matters that we're skeptics. Do you know what the skeptic position would be?
Enlighten me.
So the skeptic position is going to be universal. I actually think it includes part of what you were saying, because I do suspect that. I will say I do suspect abiogenesis will be answered one day. However, we'll never actually have a perfect theory of what happened on this planet unless time travel is invented, because we'll never know whether or not the one we come up with is the right one. The actual answer is stop being so uncomfortable admitting when you don't know. Because you went on this big, long thing after, and I'm going, no. The right thing is to go, I don't know, and so I'm not going to start injecting.
Filling in the blank,
these much bigger concepts that are way more complicated. I understand the temptation, Jared, and I think that you are defending that, but with a different set of phrases that don't sound as reductionist. But in reality, it sounds like you are defending a sort of God of the gaps, because the word God is short and it sounds simple, even though it is infinitely actually more complex than any naturalistic even hypothesis would be. That's where we're getting at the difference here.
I am at no point saying I do know. In fact, I am saying I don't know. But if I don't say I know anything, then I will spend the rest of my life floundering about in anything and everything. I'm just simply believing in something, and over the course of my time, my belief will contribute to the human library of different experiences where people believed, brought their experiences forward, and we find something new.
Jared, I'm sorry, if you believe in a God, I don't agree that what you just said was true. Name one thing that you think God was responsible for.
Well, I do believe that he was responsible for some element of creation.
Okay, so the abiogenesis, life, right?
Yeah.
And what I said was, I, as a person who can't know if that question will ever be answered one at all, if how abiogenesis could happen, but I think that one will be. But I literally never will be able to actually know,
Sure.
I believe, if the right one happened on Earth. I sit there and go, I don't know. So I'm
Sure.
not going to add something that I further
Right.
cannot prove to it, which, Jared, you have done in what appears to be a presumption that it is an unknowable thing, that we couldn't know, that we couldn't give a correct theory that might be right, but never be able to confirm that it is the right one, or that something else that we aren't even aware of and will never be aware of could have happened. You seem to have gone, that questions I don't know has to be we can't know because it can't be a natural explanation. So I'm going to add God into it. It's exactly what I said you were doing, and then you said it wasn't.
Well, it's not that I'm basing my belief on the creation aspect of God. The reasons why I believe in God doesn't even really tie to creation necessarily.
That's fine.
I mean,
Jared, I only was talking about why
everybody's
you
got
believe
their own-
God was responsible for
Sure.
abiogenesis. Literally only that. Jared, if you lived 2,000 years ago in the same way that you are currently defending these beliefs, you would clearly believe that God caused the weather. And you would have biblical warrant for it, where you could start with, no, I believe in God for other reasons,
Right.
this faith affirmation and everything. And now, because we have that question and the Bible says he does weather stuff, you would feel it's just as justified because it's only filling in a gap that you are aware of. It would be the
Yeah.
same. Go ahead. Eve.
Possible.
Well,
I-
and
I'm
Jared,
not
can I-
the most
intelligent person then, yeah.
Jared, do you mind if
totally
I just,
agree.
do you mind if I touch on going back to what you were talking about originally? Because maybe this will
Go
help
for it.
explain a bit. Because you were talking about like why don't you keep the possibility open for a God?
Mhm.
And here's my problem. If I were to do that, then to be consistent, I would need to keep the possibility. Oh, I would need to entertain the possibility. Let's put it that way. I would need to entertain the possibility of infinite other options for explanations to all these
necessarily.
things. That why not? Why
So
would I make an
entertaining-
exception for your claim and not for all the other infinite amount of claims?
Well, I mean, well, kind of what Jimmy said earlier, there's a kind of a filter that your brain has if you're a reasonable person, that things that are plausible make it through, and things that are, for the most part,
Why is
seem
a
to be
God more
implausible.
plausible than something you can't even think of? Like why would I entertain this thing that you happen to be presenting to me, that you happen to believe, versus and the next guy that walks down the street that comes up with some other wild thing that has nothing to do with a God, maybe like a green alien came here and made us all and is not a God and it's actually like not intelligent. You know what I mean? Like why am I not keeping the possibility open for all of that?
So there's I mean, you are bound to your experiences. Like, I believe that if I was plopped in, Pakistan, I would be, or, Iraq, and I was raised in Iraq, I would probably be a very good Muslim. I'm very well aware of that.
Wait, Jared,
cultural
that doesn't bother you?
significance. No, that doesn't bother me at all.
So, Jared, do
And
you
I'll
care whether
explain.
your belief is true or not?
I do care. And I understand also the human ability.
But you acknowledge that
based
you're a
on
Christian for
exposure.
the same reason a person in Pakistan is a Muslim.
Every human has a desire to believe something.
Right?
And so
I believe lots
recognize
of
that would
things, but
probably
doesn't.
lead
Sure.
you to be, you are responsible for the information that you have available to you, primarily in the most formative stages of my development.
So if somebody gave you a better reason to follow Islam, would you would you convert to Islam?
Yes, I would, but I've studied Islam long enough to probably not see that as plausible.
Jared, every time a Christian says this and you investigate it, it turns out that they've studied it and realized it's incompatible with Christianity, so it couldn't be true.
That's exactly what I was getting towards. I see that as a possibility. Now, here's the nature of truth.
No, Jared, hang on. Before you go forward, because I cannot get past this. You say you care whether things are true or not. I agree with you. We are responsible for, where we are born is where we are born. The information we are fed is the information we are fed, and we're going to do things. But here's the thing, Jared. I was born into a faithful Mormon family. The rewards, if I had held on to that Mormonism, would have been very high. I don't think it would have been worth it with what my values are now, but back then I certainly would have thought it was. I was able to recognize at some point that I have beliefs based on my environment. The nurture has overtaken my nature, and that is going to be the reason why I believe. And so I set out on a journey to then prove, independent of that, whether or not there was an objective case to be made. And when I discovered it wasn't, and that foundationally my beliefs were not more warranted than Islam, than whatever form of Christianity you have, Jared, or any form of Christianity anybody else had, that's why and when I became an atheist. Now, I haven't then said, I'm an atheist, and every worldview that anybody could come up with is definitely wrong, because I couldn't know that. I haven't investigated them all. But every worldview that has been presented to me, I have maintained a consistent skeptical line of questioning for, and acknowledge that we have clearly great methods for establishing if things are true or not. That is why you and I can even talk onto the phone this day, and why I find it so wild that people want to try and question things like physics, when physics are the methods that they are using to get online and question physics in the first place. There are methods to get to truth that have proven to bear out. Jared, your nurtured-based faith has many people have, and they can't all be right at once. So that cannot be the foundation or basis by which we say something is true.
Right at once.
I'm not saying you are. If you had let me finish to the end of the question, you'd have heard what I was saying. And it was the problem
you haven't been finishing to the end of my questions either, but I do respect
Jared,
that. I understand where the end you're going towards.
You didn't, because you just answered something other than what I was saying, because I was making a commentary on the exclusivity of the truth and how faith foundationally does not work to get to truth. Now, I do cut you off, Jared, because you often go on to metaphors about the exact same thing you just said, and I don't need metaphors. I can understand the basic concept. You don't have to explain surpluses to me with lemonade or whatever people do. So I'm only cutting you off in those scenarios. Jared, that's not how the respect isn't. I give you as much platform as you want on this show. I've been doing this a long time. We have ways of filtering and getting to things more quickly. And I'm not going to just open the line and go as long and as far as you want, even if we don't need you to. So, Jared, I'm now passing the mic back to you, and you can respond to the things that you've been given from Eve and I now.
Absolutely. And I do appreciate that, by the way. When basically I approach truth, because, I mean, the things that are true are just simply true. You know, they'll either be discovered. I mean, the laws of physics have already been in motion to some extent. And if, like, you know, Albert Einstein was never born, somebody would come to discover these theories of relativity as a perspective to view the physical world. But then sometimes those perspectives, because they are perceived by flawed humans, just simply don't pan out. Like the first law of thermodynamics is up for debate because that M drive design that, you know, came up back, what was that, 2018, 2019, somewhere back there. So something as fundamental as the laws of thermodynamics can be on the table.
No.
And so when we
Jared,
talk
you've
about
misunderstood.
science,
You've absolutely misunderstood debates about thermodynamics. And basically in every time there seems to be a conflict and that thing is addressed, it is to figure out what went wrong, because so far the thermodynamics part can't be the thing that went wrong. But this isn't to say physicists aren't wrong sometimes. It's just like how the multiverse theory and string theory both have incredible amounts of mathematical evidence. If you ask me which one I believe is true, I will say I don't know. They sound great. I understand some of the evidence for them, and I find some of them compelling, but I will not tell you that string theory is correct, and I will not tell you that there is a multiverse.
I think you and I are agreeing probably more than we realize.
I think we have a lot of overlap. And that's why I've been trying to steer the conversation back every time to how you justify this unjustifiable proposition, I think, of God in any of it.
Well, allow me to then to basically, and you can once again correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I will.
Good. Your stance is that basically I have to be the judge of what is right or wrong. And when it comes down to the end of the funnel of the decision of right and wrong, It is Jimmy that decides and is able to decide whether it's right or wrong.
No, I don't. That's not my position.
Okay. But so you're not responsible at the end of the day for deciding what is right and wrong for you.
Okay, that's a different question. You threw the for you in. You're basically just talking about subjectivity and perception. Sure. At the end of the day, the only person who can determine, according to my own perception, the only person who can make the call of what I think is right or wrong, true or false, is going to be myself. But the question isn't then what. It's non-arbitrary. Is I guess what I'm wanting to get at. Yes, is it subjective? Is my even perception of reality subjective? Obviously. But I can point to things external to myself that try to minimize basically being made to look like a fool or just being wrong. And the one that I have found is the best, more than a function that says, this is how you prove X is right, or this is how you prove Y is wrong. More than any of that, the thing that has brought me the most comfort is learning to be okay with I don't know. That's the one. And that's what I think is fundamentally different between myself and theists similar to yourself. I think that that's what's at play, but I don't know.
Well, maybe it's our reasoning and exposure to information is different, but I actually very much resonate with that viewpoint. But I think my viewpoint of information is there's so many incredible minds that are far more intelligent than me that have come on before and made incredible leaps for humankind that have held to these beliefs of things beyond, even something like, I'm reading over the Socratic dialogues again. And it's interesting that, you and you're a very intelligent person, maybe even more intelligent than me. I'm pretty average, but Socrates has us absolutely schooled. And he believed in, the pantheon, the Greek pantheon, and had belief in that.
And you don't, right, Jared?
No, and I don't.
Right.
And so it begs a question to me of the belief that is beyond from some of the greatest minds that have come across. Isaac Newton, a phenomenal physicist that set the precedent for almost the entirety of how science and classical physics would be based from there on out, had belief in God. And
also,
it's not necessarily that he was right in that. But
and alchemy. Let's not forget alchemy.
Something beyond, right?
Let's not that.
And a plausibility.
Well, I just want to point out that Isaac Newton also believed in alchemy. So as you're pointing to this thing of most people have had some belief in such and such, you're also pointing to categorically things that they didn't believe. And Jared,
absolutely.
I get the argument, and it's just an argument ad populum, unfortunately, but it is. While all of these people believe different things, they did have this one core thing in common. I don't deny that the evolution of human society tends to push people toward one thing. There are perfectly reasonable ways to explain it without the God being literally true. I do believe in God believers. I don't believe in God. And I believe that God belief was almost a natural conclusion as our brains were becoming more complex, as our society was becoming more complex, and as authority was able to be continued on because of the written word. Because we actually don't have evidence that most of these other, that humanity before the written word did maintain things like consistent beliefs in gods and stuff. But we know that with the written word, now you could come up with an idea like this that quickly explains something supposedly simply, and you could make sure that that idea was introduced to a person when they were contemplating it. That is the simple explanation to me why a God belief would be maintained. And obviously, we could then talk about why would people then be so faithful and all that stuff. And unfortunately, this is the nature of power and cults. When I see the fact that before, let's say, there are more people alive today who venerate Donald Trump like a messiah than before Jesus Christ ever venerated Judaism as true, right? It's the popularity of it and the fact that a cult can catch on and continue onward. And Trump is just the end of a long line of fucking awful shit. Well, hopefully the end. It's probably just the middle. It's not your awe that so many people had this one thing in common. I could take the thing in common away and go, okay, if God's the thing and they have in common, what causes the God thing? And then we get to specific types of pattern recognition. And so now it's that they have this type of pattern recognition in common, and I can do it for other beliefs, like fascism. Like, it has been the conclusion of it. Go ahead.
I'm not saying this
I think
is the
Eve
end
is,
of like, yeah. Oh, sorry
I think Eve
about
wants
that.
to jump in.
Go for it.
No. You go ahead, Jared.
Just to clarify, I'm not going towards an end. I'm going towards a possibility, and that might seem like a blue watermelon argument. You know, it's like the watermelon's blue until you cut it open.
But you haven't actually established a possibility
right?
yet, Jared. Has that ever been brought up to you before this call, I wonder? Because it doesn't with most people. Like, people are usually surprised when they say, like, okay, so do you still say God is possible? Even after I say, I'm not saying God doesn't exist. So you still think it's possible? And I go, no, I don't believe God is possible. I also don't disbelieve he's possible. Have you before now considered that you haven't actually, I'm just curious, have you actually established that God is a possibility, or did you presume that because he's not been proven to be impossible, that makes him automatically possible? That is the normal way.
No, I mean, I've come from a lot of different places of doubt, even in my walk, and I live in that doubt, and I've become pretty comfortable with cognitive dissonance. But in my mind, and obviously my mind is pretty limited, the existence of the possibility of God begs something beyond just whether there's proof or not. Like, where do these things come from in a vacuum? Is it just human questioning and we put a different name on it? I don't know.
I think it's the same thing that all the other stuff, dragons, unicorns, fiction in general, philosophy, there is an inquisitive desire, a comfort. It's not our generation that was the first one who didn't like I don't knows. Your great times whatever before written word grandparents didn't like I don't knows either. And at the time, kind of on one of the concepts you were talking about before, they didn't have tools as good of tools as we have. What would be beautiful is if we could redo society and go, okay, we're going to start it with the scientific method. We're going to go all the way back, and we're not going to tell you God exists. We're not going to tell you anything. We're not even going to tell you that the scientific method can answer every question. We're just going to equip society with the scientific method and see what would then follow.
It would require faith of some kind.
Why?
Because there's a belief in something beyond in order to sit in that.
No, wait. What faith? Faith in what would you have to have?
In general. Faith in basically, if I were to put my belief in the scientific method, right, and I were to sit in that,
I'm not asking. No. Jared, I'm not asking you to put your faith in the scientific method. Again, I'm only saying equip the initial society with the scientific method. I don't know for a fact that there aren't other ways to get to truth. If you can give me something, a function that gets you to truth as well as the scientific method, I'll adopt that also. I'm not saying put your faith in it.
The tool is imperfect. The tool you're giving me, or you would give Brand New Society, the scientific method, that tool, even in itself, is not flawless. And so you have to have faith in something of its perfection.
The execution of the tool isn't flawless, but there isn't like, I don't know.
And what you're talking about is not faith. You're talking about trust.
I think so.
No,
too.
faith is the belief in things unseen, and the possibilities that the scientific method would lead us to are not yet seen or realized.
No, but Jared, hang on, Jared.
That's leading you into truth.
Jared, you do, when you say unseen, you are talking about, like, historically.
You mean literally invisible, or
right? Unseen was not literally just like. No, faith is.
That's still really vague.
When we're talking about faith, you are talking about supernatural apprehension. That you are
not the connotation of faith, the definition of the word faith, not the connotation of it.
I understand Hebrews 11:1 has the belief in things unseen, and the context for the belief in the things unseen wasn't just belief in things that haven't yet. Now, I think that there is a ton of overlap?
Trust or confidence in someone or something. That is the Oxford Language's definition.
Right, and
of faith.
that is a colloquialism. That is not that you are using the colloquial version that has developed from the religious version. We now use the word trust and faith colloquially to overlap. The definition, if we're talking about religious faith from a philosophical perspective,
religious belief. Okay, that's not what I'm saying.
Faith.
Faith is in the word in the English language to have faith.
But Jared, we're
something.
having a religious discussion. So if you
Sure.
introduce the concept of you'd still have to have faith in something as that being equal to faith in God, you are implying that we are interacting with a religious definition. And I think we are pointing out here that you are equivocating, that you are swapping between when it is convenient. The scientific method relies on absolutely zero faith. You actually get results. If you follow the scientific method, now people doing it will be flawed. But the scientific method...
Yeah, you're trusting the institutions to use to accomplish this scientific method correctly, but you're not having faith. You're not just like, well, I have faith in gravity. That's not how the scientific method works.
Well, if we're talking phraseology, I mean, people put their trust in Jesus. People put their trust in,
yes, and that's the thing is
whatever.
that when that you're using very
But
vague
if I were to-
terms for religious definitions, and typically when people when theists start using words like faith, that is taking the place of evidence or good reason to believe something. I'm saying, give me good reason to believe it. And then I usually get met with, well, you have to, that's where faith comes in. When we run out of good reasons, that's where faith comes in. Science has good reasons. That's why we end up trusting it, because it's offering good reasons to continue trusting the science.
And when you say people put their trust in Jesus Christ, you're talking about the reason it becomes faith is because they have an affirmation. And usually they claim a spiritual affirmation, whether it's the Holy Ghost or whatever else, that it is,
right.
That is, I have had affirmed to me something unproven. I have a deep instinct and feeling that this thing is true. So if I put my faith in somebody like the fucking weird monster guy from Poor Things, and I have no good reason to, I could make that more comparable, but I still wouldn't use the word faith because in a religious discussion, it has a second spiritual and supernatural interaction implication. I don't want to be pedantic about the word faith and spend all this time. I'm simply trying to just point out, if I use the scientific method and I have phones and I have the internet and electricity and all of these things that are the fruits of it that can be directly reverse engineered that way, even through processes that I didn't participate in, but I am also welcome to participate in and have at times and been able to see mostly in the world of biology that those things do play out. That is not the same as I am attributing things that could be attributed to many, many more things. Like I am attributing to God that I was healed, even though I went to a doctor. That is not the equivalent of religious faith. The science thing to the I was healed by God, even though I went to a doctor, or any other explanation for the healing.
Well, that is the jump into developing an entire society off that one premise of, okay, we start over from ground zero with the scientific method, and we go from there. You were talking of something that is a development of things from people that were basically pursued under the impetus of knowing God better. I mean, there's a lot of influence in science that has come from people of these faith origins.
I disagree with you entirely that their motivation was their core motivation was knowing God better. I think that their core motivation is the same, honestly, as a scientist, filling in what the I don't knows are.
Trying to come up with answers.
Right.
Yes,
and if we gave them the scientific method, unlike religion, there would be no requirement based on faith to see whether or not the results bore out. If we give them the scientific method and they start making wells and mills and then that eventually later develops into other things, there's a tremendous amount of evidence. Now, I think I see what you're saying, where at the core, when you give it to them, you're asking them to take a sort of leap of faith or a leap of trust and just go start with this instead of what you started with before. I think I get that that's what you're trying to get at. And yes, I am saying, with the benefit of hindsight, wouldn't it be interesting to see what society would have done differently? Because now I, the person giving it to them, do already have that proof. We're talking about a hypothetical where I'm becoming a time-traveling God in the first place. So the whole thing doesn't work. It was just a simple sort of experiment to just to say, would they have come to the same conclusions? would they,
that
if they
fire
had a
is
method,
God, that the
Right.
sun is God, right?
if they had a method to actually question that and not been discouraged so along the way with whether or not you're one of the people who agrees that sometimes being an atheist got you killed or that it wasn't as bad or as often as a lot of Christians do, whether or not you accept that, I don't know that anybody can say once religion got off the ground, especially these Abrahamic religions, there wasn't horrible life societal consequences to not adhering to them. And so even if you are the most brilliant person there is, the idea that you wouldn't be affected by that. I have so sad news for people who don't know this about Socrates, who don't know this about Isaac Newton, who don't know this about Plato. They all had dicks that they wanted to use.
True.
And so I'm not remotely surprised that they often had beliefs that were, I think, wrong, but were more concurrent with societal beliefs. And were excited when they could shift societal thinking within still the confines of those beliefs by sort of softly presenting other things and then being presented the idea of being an authority, because then they got to probably use the dicks more often. We live in a society that rewards authoritative dicks. It's unfortunate, but it's
a human condition. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's Jared, let's you and I agree that is the human condition. That's our new, just using my definition, the human condition is rewarding authoritative dicks.
Let's freaking go. I love it. Well, I'm a little bit exhausted, and actually because I work at a church, I do have a lot of stuff to do for
It's a busy weekend for you.
Ironically.
That's right. It's Good Friday. Thanks for sharing your Good Friday with us, Jared.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you talking.
We're back
And Jared,
Sunday
if you ever want to call
5 days a week. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if you ever want to call Chewed Gum and chat again, if you have another angle or another thing about this conversation you want to pinpoint more, Alyssa and I know would love to talk to you. So
cool.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jared.
We do have a few atheists on the line. I know that Eve is on a bit of a time crunch today, so we're going to try and very quickly get through the calls that are remaining and then get to
We had a
super
nice
chats.
Jared, though. I'm so pleased. A little redemptive moment.
I'm glad after some of the calls we had that we got to have someone like Jared.
Right.
Even when he got a little, sometimes you get a little mad when people are like, let me talk more. I do not need metaphors.
Right. But also look at how much time that you gave him. That's what I want to say to these theistic callers. If you will engage in the dialogue with us and answer our questions, he just got, 40 minutes of a conversation? And it was great. And I just told him to call back on Tuesday night and we can talk more. So,
he never once tried to sniff his own farts. And that's what I loved about him.
Right. Yes. Yep.
He was the opposite of the Jared, the first
the
Jared
other Jared. Yeah. Good Jared and bad Jared.
Something else I want to quickly address before we jump into the remainder of the show. So there is an unfortunate thing happening. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this live because I don't know if that has the potential of exacerbating the problem. One of two things has happened, and we're going to be experimenting with our descriptions and our titles and stuff to see if we can help it. I suspect it's not the problem, but here's the problem, and here are what I think the two explanations are. Virtually every episode that we are putting up is now getting demonetized. Now, we are able to appeal and the funny thing is almost every single one is eventually coming back as a monetized. However, the hours that takes, unfortunately, it causes episodes to take a hit. There's nothing worse for an episode than getting demonetized at the beginning. And there's one of two reasons this could be happening. Either YouTube on their back end has added a bunch of keywords that we're using a lot. And granted, there are some salacious words in our descriptions. The word trans is in there because of the Transatlantic Call-In show. We have to update our programming because Dying Out Loud still says the Tuesday show is on the description. We're going to fix all of that this week and make sure all that stuff is updated. However, usually I can get an honest answer from YouTube when that has happened, and I've gotten nothing like that. So the other thing that might be happening that I think is happening is that there is a group of people, and to people that this has happened to in the past, it tends to be an organized group of people. We'll just call them Jaredites. Not because of last Jared, but the Jared before. I believe that we have attracted a group of people, probably people that we have pissed off, who are falsely flagging our episodes and reporting them. And when it's one person who does it every time, that's not a much, but if you can get a big enough group of people and you can diversify your IP addresses, which is easy to do with a VPN, it's easy to do. So why am I telling you all of this? Well, because it's really fucking frustrating me and I want to have it out on the record so I can send this clip also to YouTube and go like, hey, what if you white flag us instead of a red flag or whatever you call it. And you only ever accept that we deserve this if a manual review has happened, because every time we're sending, I want to be able to send that. But in the meantime, this is hurting us and it is affecting us. Will we be fine and okay? We will. However, if you've ever thought Patreon, I might do it one day, I don't know. Patreon.com/calltheline. It would be an excellent way. And also, again, you can buy our daddy shirts, our daddy merch, go to linemerch.com and you can buy that. But I will say, if this continues, and frankly, it's already been happening now for about a week and a half, that it became every episode. And before that, it was starting to happen more often, and then it became every episode. I'm just saying, in a way of where I feel very uncomfortable being like, please support us. It would actually be extra great right now if more people would be supporting on Patreon. So patreon.com/calltheline. And by the way, if you join now, you'll be able to also come to, Matt is doing a Zoom with patrons this Sunday night at, I think, 7 p.m. It is his birthday. It's also Easter. So you'll actually be able to Zoom with Matt and the whole group and the whole crowd. You'll be able to get into our Discord. Also, tonight or tomorrow, I will be adding to make sure that there is a Patreon tier specifically for Chewed Gum. So you can either support there and get specific access to that in the Patreon Discord. I know I've said this a lot, but there's actually steps we've been doing. We are beefing up the Patreon Discord. I finally got everybody except one person who works at the line to have a Discord account finally. And you will see more. Now, that said, the communities are mostly for the communities, but I'm saying a few times a month, you are going to see people from the line in the Discord, and you'll be able to, but you can go in there now and chat. So patreon.com/calltheline. And it is, it's been fucking unpleasant. It has been a stressful week because of that.
Ugh, that's the worst. That happened to my TikTok.
Yeah.
And eventually TikTok did that. Like, basically now everything I post goes under review immediately. And then it gets delayed like a minute and then they put it up. And now I don't have any issues, but it was, my account was almost taken down. So
YouTube doesn't have delay things like, well, you can kind of do like, if you know it's going to be demonetized or the words or whatever, you can send that for review before posting to public, but we're live. We're a live
What
show,
can you do?
So,
Yep.
Yeah. It's very, very, very frustrating.
It's infuriating.
And, patreon.com/calltheline would be the number one way. Go give $5 a month or something. And and yep, we are doing super chats on this episode, $5 at the end. I will say I'm very, very pleased with how many people were watching this episode today, because I want us often don't do that great. And I'm sitting here going like, it has to be because of Eve, because we've been averaging 1,400 to 1,500 people live concurrently the whole time. And so it's been...
You don't have a reason to say it's me, but sure, I'll take the credit. Thanks, guys.
I mean, Eric and I did a late night Sunday show, and I think we only capped at like 800-900. So clearly, it's. I'm just saying. Maybe it's the pair. Is the pairing what people love? I don't know. Why am I using Donald Trump gestures? Why am I moving around like
back to that persona from earlier?
Here we go. All right, we're gonna quickly run through the atheist cause here, and then hit the super chat and continue on. Here we go.
Also, do we still have the poll up? Sorry, for our voting on our intro.
I apparently didn't have it up before, but here's what's going to annoy you more. So you can judge right now which is the better intro. Is it Cuz I Want
really
intro
annoying to me,
or Chewed Gum? In fact, let's show them again real quick also.
I'm sorry.
Y'all have to decide which intro is better, the one for Cuz I Wanna or this show, or Chewed Gum rather. This show Cuz I Wanna or Chewed Gum. I'm going to show you the intros again and you can vote. You know what's so frustrating? 254 people voted. Guess what the percentages are?
Are they 50-50?
A moment ago they were. They're now 51-49 with a slight edge to Cuz I Wanna. But let's show them. All right, here is the Chewed Gum intro once more with only 5 seconds of the timer that leads into it. There you go. That was Chewed Gum. Now here is the intro for this show, which is 'Cause I Wanna. I'm not going to say which, but I will say after watching them back to back again, I actually have a stronger opinion than last time. I actually feel more toward one or the other. No, you don't know.
Yeah.
It could be.
I know what it is.
Don't make assumptions. What happens? You know what happens when you assume? You look like an
correct.
asshole. Oh,
No, I end up being right. That's what happens.
I like ruining phrases that people. You make an ass out of you and me, and I just tell people you look like an asshole. Anyway, all right, we're gonna talk to Xander on planet Earth, who is an atheist who has actually a pretty interesting question. Go ahead, Xander. You're on the line with Eve and Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Eve.
Hello.
Hi.
So my topic is, if in the real world some bad things will go unpunished and some good things will go unrewarded, then maybe adding a hell and a heaven to the equation will fix things up, because bad people will fear the hell and good people will not feel like they have done good for nothing.
And I disagree. Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing is, we already have that being proposed by so many people, and it hasn't stopped these bad things from happening. If anything, it's encouraged a lot of those bad things to happen.
Yeah.
So do you mean like if we could literally create a heaven and a hell, that would be better? Or what exactly are you proposing? That we tell people there's a heaven and a hell? Because people are doing that, and it's not working.
The religious idea.
Right, Xander, what we're asking is, are you saying, should we... Obviously, none of us believe in a heaven and hell. Do you believe that we should pretend there's a heaven and a hell? Or
Yes.
are you saying you wish we could add a literal heaven and hell?
We should keep the religion.
Okay, great. Xander, I have a question, and this is going to probably, for most people, answer for you, or for most people, why I'm not okay with this. So, Xander, here's the question. Who gets to decide what's worthy of heaven and hell?
I don't know.
Who should, though?
I don't.
Okay, Xander, this is why I don't agree with you. Because so far, as Eve has pointed out so much more eloquently than I will, this has already been there. The problem has been who got to decide what's worthy of hell and what's worthy of heaven. And the more nefarious thing that happened was to serve the interest of people in power. People in power convinced people that they will go to heaven if they do evil things, according to what I would call evil through secular humanism, and what I think a lot of people would call evil through even many of the, like slavery, many of the most Christian philosophies also nowadays agree that that's wrong, have convinced people through fear of hell that good things are bad and that bad things are good. And so, no, I would not lie to a society if I had the power and pretend that heaven and hell exist, when I think that you can actually make compelling reasons for doing things that are good for society and not doing things that are bad for society without doing it. And I find that the people that I am most in ethical agreement with, and I see as most ethically consistent, are usually people who are well-reasoned secular humanists. Their ethical actions seem to be far less subjective and fickle than the people who literally have the beliefs that you are saying we should lie and pretend exist.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay, Jimmy, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you have a public email that I can contact you through?
contact@qnaline.com. It's in the description also.
Okay, 1 minute.
Well, we're not going to wait a minute. Just find it in the description, contact@qnaline.com, or you can come back to this point during the episode also.
Okay, does the emails reach you directly?
When I check it, yeah. I mean, you could also do dearmratheist@gmail.com, but again, it's both are, if you're asking for a promise, I will read and respond. No such promises will be made this day. We get a lot of emails and I only have so much bandwidth, but if I see it and I recognize it and it's a topic I want to respond to, I will do so.
So you don't actively respond to emails?
Xander, just go back and watch what I already just said. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. I often respond to emails, but it's not going to be all of them, and I'm not going to promise that I'm going to respond to yours.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Xander. I feel like
Thanks,
the 90
Xander.
hours a week I put into this channel are enough. See ya. I'm kidding. It's not 90. It's more like 100. Anyway.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We've got Scott in New Hampshire. Scott, you're on the line with Jimmy and Eve.
Hi, Jimmy. I'm a real big fan of the show.
Glad to hear it. Oh, that's why do I have the wrong name tag up for you? I'll fix it real quick though. But go ahead, Scott. What'd you call it about?
Lifelong atheist. But I think I see value in what they get out of it. You just talked about secular humanism.
And who gets out of what?
Sorry, go ahead.
You get value out of who getting? Can you rephrase that? You're a lifelong atheist, but you.
I think our last guy hinted on the same thing, which is that they seem a lot happier sometimes. I'm not saying they're justified in it, but
they, as in theists.
Theists, sure.
Okay. Gotcha.
Religion satisfies that weariness of truth seeking, And I think I felt that weariness really heavily in the past and had a disassociative event over it. And I feel very much like it was what Joseph Smith must have felt when he had his, but I'm not religious, so it didn't go in that direction. But
well, wait, did you meet God in Jesus?
No, but I did have a lost time, and I'm a maker. I make things, and I'm a craftsman. And when I came to, I had a whole bunch of cards that clearly I prepared for myself that kind of laid out what I, what if I had a gospel or I had a set of rules to fall back on. And they've been really useful for me. I'm not trying to push this on anyone else.
So Scott, presuming your story is true, you need to know that all I'm hearing is you need to seek a medical. So I
agree.
I dissociate. I dissociate, but that's not dissociation. You're describing amnesia when you were apparently still doing things. So dissociation, you can have a reduced state of memory, but it's not as though when you dissociate, you don't remember generally where you were, what you were doing, but you probably don't necessarily have heavy neurological links. Full amnesia is not a symptom of dissociation.
Yeah, I agree that definitely this is experimental psychology, and I should have a real psychologist involved. No question about it.
And I'm not.
But I guess where I meant to go, I didn't mean to dive into my distinct craziness immediately. I just kind of wanted to talk about the post-theist world, about that these mechanisms of ritual have value. I go through these cards and I pick one out every day, and I do today's was one more sit-up, and it works for me. I'm not saying it would work for anyone else, and I'm not trying to promote anything. It's just I think that the ritual itself satisfies some human need, and I think separated from the supernatural, it has some value.
Okay. Eve, do you disagree that there are aspects of religion that are nice to have even without religion? You're muted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that anything religion has to offer that's a positive, you can find elsewhere in a less cult kind of way, in a way that actually follows reality, and that's more important to me. So, for instance, community, religion, organized religion has community to offer. I do think that's something that they have figured out really well. But we're finding that a lot of that community is super abusive. And guess what? I found amazing community outside of religion. I did have to work a bit harder because it wasn't handed to me and I wasn't told, here, you guys all believe this, so now you're going to take each other to dinner when one of you is sick. but I have found that community. And it is significantly healthier than anything I experience within religion. So that's my problem, is that anything positive about religion you can find elsewhere. What are you laughing at, Jimmy?
Someone in chat wrote the phrase silly jism. I wasn't laughing at you.
Yeah, maybe I have no point that I called in with it at all. It's just, I guess maybe having never been a theist of any kind, like I even tried it once as an experiment when I lost a friend when I was young, and it was nothing. It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't even believe that other people believe it. And yet they still seem to get a lot of satisfaction out of it.
See a doctor, but is the main advice of this call. But because that you should be concerned about that. I'm not saying that and like, oh my God, go get yourself. It's literally like if what you said happened the way it happened, you need to have your brain scanned. Because amnesia is there are very few amnesia things that are mild. So you need to go figure out what the shit's going on. But as far as I'm not gonna just repeat what she said. I'm just gonna copy and paste. There's take all the good stuff and leave the religion behind. Don't throw the baby. We're not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater, which is a weird saying.
Yeah, there's in fact there's non-theistic religions that don't rely on the belief in a God, and they do take some of the positive things, and they practice what they would call spirituality, and that could be something that's helpful for you. But I think this belief in a God factor has nothing to do with anything good you get out of religion.
It obviously doesn't. I didn't give the impression that I do at all. I'm sorry.
No. We're just answering your musings, your questions about this.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I didn't come off as a troll that I'm trying to sneak a religion, belief in the supernatural in here in any way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Scott. I hope you found silly jism as funny as I did.
I was going to claim to be a secular pantheist, but I figured I'd just get kicked off the call if I did.
Doesn't make sense. Talk about it a different day. All right.
Thanks, Scott.
See ya. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. The third atheist caller did drop off, so we are jumping to the super chats. However, with 417 votes, because I will say, if I was voting, I would have found your disappointment extremely compelling, and would have probably swayed my vote too.
You think I got pity votes?
I don't know if it's pity votes or if it's like parasocial. This kind of makes us friend votes. You know what I mean? Like if I wasn't your friend, Eve, do you know how much I would want to be if I saw you on like the YouTube? I'd be like, oh my God, I want to be your friend so much. Of course I'll vote. And I don't want to be Jimmy's friend at all. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Maybe they voted for their real. It could be genuine.
The thing is, it seems like I won, and you have no way of proving if that was because of parasocial relationship with my internet friends. So,
you've also forgotten a core issue.
Oh,
no matter which one wins.
Yeah, I know you won.
I
technically,
also
no matter
win.
what.
So it's almost like even if this is where it ends, we're going to let the poll keep going. Even if the poll ends with, if Chewed Gum wins, we both win because I'm responsible for that intro. Arden also helped, by the way.
I also had literally nothing to do with it, so I shouldn't even be getting this. Shouldn't even be my side. But yeah,
if Cause I Wanna wins. I love Cause I Wanna as a show also because it's so low pressure. It's so easy to like.
I'm having the time of my life over here. This is great.
If after 10 minutes we had been like, I don't wanna anymore, we would have just stopped the show.
Like, we could just not wanna. Yeah.
We would only continue if which I will say, usually when a show's starting, I have to start the show to even begin to wanna. There is a little bit of a thing where it's kind of like, oh, why did I agree to this? This sucks. Let's make this piece of shit.
So many things in life go that way.
But then you do it. And we're back to 50-50, by the way.
Then it's great.
Because also,
damn it, guys.
I will say, some number of people, these are clearly chaotic neutral alignment people who are like, well, now I'm going to tie it up because that increases the drama, and I appreciate
I think that people felt bad for you because you said people want to be my friend and not yours. So now they're voting for you.
But I think they were feeling bad for you because you seemed sad earlier and you're like the nicest person anybody knows. And so they're like, No, the sad, nice girl. Let's go take care of her. Give her hugs.
I am
and
totally
votes.
okay with that. Yeah, guys, do that. That's a compelling argument. Thanks, Jimmy.
Please vote for Eve's choice. I am encouraging everyone to vote.
No,
for
now it's not
Chewing
fun.
Gum
I
because
like competition. I want you to be like, no.
But I'd be so
It's
sad
just staying
if
at
you were sad to
50-50.
lose. I don't want that. I care
I
about
won't
you
be
too
sad
much.
because what will happen is if you win, I'll be like, probably somehow you were subconsciously inspired by our friendship and thinking someday maybe we would do a Cause I Wanna show together and you wanted the intro to be great. So I get credit. Either way. See, I can make this a win-win.
I was being
I'm
manipulative.
really
See, I'm being noble by sharing it with you, which might encourage some people to be like, wow, in such humility, I'm voting for Jimmy. He's so humble to just give it to, or you win and then they did what I said. Again, I keep creating I win every time scenarios. It's like, anyway, please.
We should come up with a real competition.
Patron.
Yeah, do that, please. But we should do a real competition someday where the basically where I don't have to do anything no matter what, and if you lose, you have to do an entire episode as Donald Trump.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to using Donald
Trump.
Trump.
Or would you just do that
episodes? I've done jokes. Like 1 year I actually like put on his wig and a suit that looked like his or whatever. But it's not that I don't want to do that. It's that it hurts my throat to do a whole like it just wears down. And so
it's fair.
By the end of 90 minutes, say it was 90,
I
wouldn't have a voice, so I couldn't finish it.
Maybe we could say you take a whole call as Donald Trump.
I've done that once or twice before too, where people but I don't know. It could be funny. It could be fun. You know, you're not listening. You're very stupid. You're stupid. God does not exist, and you think God exists? I gotta get the nasal back into there, and there it is. Plus his vocal fry. Gotta grind my voice up like a blender. Where
I would really also. I would love to hear you. That's so good. It's creepy, actually. I would love to hear you call Matt as Donald Trump as a theist caller and just see how that would go down.
I just think that, frankly, you are not justified because you say that there are no gods, but have you seen my dick? It's quite godly. I put gold shoes on my balls.
That's so scary.
I'm trying to turn everybody off. Anyone who had a libido before the show has been disabused. Why don't we put music on while we... Okay, you've got less than 30 minutes, right? Is that where we are?
Yeah.
All right.
It's true, unfortunately.
Technically,
I'm supposed to be somewhere at 9, but I'm just going to be fashionably late. So that's all good. Lo-fi beats sounds amazing.
Is it a blessing to be fashionably late?
We can go. We're in Nashville, so yeah.
I just more mean.
Oh, you mean is
it
better for me
that you're excited to go to, or more like I'm supposed to go to?
I am excited because I love the people that I'm going to see. I am not excited anytime anything starts after 9 p.m. That's insane. Like I would love to go get in my bed as soon as this is over, and unfortunately, that will not be happening.
I'm just going to go off of, because I don't remember exactly how old you are, so I'm just going to say 25. That seems like the safe number.
We can say my age. I think we're the same age.
Are we?
33?
Yeah, I just turned 34, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm still hanging out in 33 land right now.
You don't look 33, but anyway, I do digress.
Thank you.
I say that assuming you would find it a compliment. I don't want to look younger than... Do you know what a privilege it is to be in your mid-30s as a white male? If people were like, you look 20, I'm like, oh, good. People keep talking down to me again. Like,
here's my problem. I actually love the idea of aging. Every time I age and see like wrinkles and smile lines, I love it. But I have been told my whole life that I look significantly younger than I am. And I've been ID'd everywhere I go. And lately that has stopped. And lately I've started getting messages from younger girls saying, wow, you look really good for 33. And I'm like, you could have left the last part off. Like, can I just look really good?
I feel like if you just look what an average 33-year-old looks like, it's not like an average 33-year-old looks like the Crypt Keeper. I feel like looking good.
That's how I feel like people think that about, like, that's why I'm like, well, thanks, because it seems like people think being in your 30s is like being the crypt keeper, and
do you know what they say to me? They say I look great for 52.
What? So, I feel like you look young for your age too. So.
Oh my God, no, I don't.
You have a beard.
The only reason I look young is because I look like I should be starring in a TV show named Young Santa. That's like, in comparison to Santa, he looks young.
No, you just have a beard. That's it.
Oh my God, you don't want to see me without it though. Have I ever shown you a picture of me without my beard? It's bad.
Actually, I think you've sent me like AI images of you as like a woman, as like all kinds. So I'm trying to remember.
For me by another creator. I remember which one you're talking about. That was like like lots of. I was a woman, and then one was like.
Because I'm having really recollections of you looking completely different. So I have seen you look different.
I will say, as far as aging, the one thing I don't like is every day I look in the mirror and I see my dad a little bit more, and that is not a man I want to look like. I'm just like, fuck. And that old filter makes me look like my dad with a beard.
Really?
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I mean, I'm better looking, but not by much. And what does that even mean? I'm better looking because I've got some genes from my mom. I don't want to look like her either.
Oh, you look like Jimmy.
Thanks. That's not even my name.
I know.
It is enough.
I had that thought as I was saying it.
I almost slipped every single time tonight when I was like, "You're on the line with Jimmy," and then I.
You know, I actually did that a couple episodes ago. I said, "Hi, I'm Eve, and this is," and then I said my actual name, which I don't really mind people knowing, but I'm not going to just like say it here right now. Instead of introducing Alyssa, I said my other name, and had no idea that happened at all. It was like, cool, good episode. And my partner was like, you did so good. And he was like, it was really cute when you introduced yourself twice. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I had to go back and listen. And I was
so
embarrassed.
I feel like, I mean, I've told you the way I've covered when I slipped on your name once before.
It's so easy to do, thankfully. Yeah.
But that's not that embarrassing. Since it's just you and me here and the rest of the world can't hear. Sometimes I yell out my own name during sex. So it's like, that's not that embarrassing. Saying your own name for a partner. And
that's amazing.
Call me by your name.
Wow.
Tell me you love me in private. That's a Lil Nas song.
That's really good.
I'm glad that there's no one else.
Thank you for telling me which song it was that you were singing, because I never would have known.
Oh, I was saying it. Oh my God, that's so mean. What the fuck?
I'm just kidding.
I was just telling
kidding.
The audience.
I was being sarcastic.
The audience who wasn't here, because it's just you and I. That's why I was able to share.
Yeah.
We said we want lo-fi.
Super chats. Yes.
Well, that's a little loud though. Let's bring that down.
That was. Are you gonna freestyle now?
No, I'll wrap all the.
Oh God.
All the super chats. Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Here we go. This live stream is terrible. Engaging. It's funny and intelligent people. No, you can't do it. It doesn't rhyme. Intelligent people having fun. Who has time for this? People enjoying themselves rubbish. How dare you all do a show that I know that PhD Tony's joking, but I do love, there are comments when I've done actually this show before, where people have been like, Jimmy should just do calls. He needs to shut up and get onto it. Where at the beginning of the show, I will explain, like, this show is for my ego.
Because I wanna.
I feel like ranting about something or whatever. I promise you fucking nothing. Don't be here if hearing me rant about Lego sets or Yu-Gi-Oh is not something you're open to the show going. And then people will still be like, I wish you would just get to calls. And I'm like, fuck off. Do you want to read the next one? I'll send it through.
Sure. $5 from the Raven 200. I've played with AI and it's helped me somewhat, especially with D&D, because I want to, Jimmy, go take a
Rasengan
Raven,
and
I love
Chidori
you.
combo from Naruto.
This happens
and
on
Sasuke.
Chewed Gum too. Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you say? Is it Naruto?
I say Naruto. Yeah, Naruto.
Okay, I watched a couple episodes one time, That's my extent of knowledge of any of that world.
I was very into that show once upon a time. Koi Dory says, Jimmy, what's the thing Mormon missionaries do where they say things so you feel the Holy Spirit? I want to read more about it. What's it called based on? Also, are they aware it's a trick? Also, go fuck yourself. I don't know of a phrase, but I think you're just describing where I'm talking about the way they psychologically prime you. They'll play music. You'll be watching videos that literally like the music builds to the point where you're supposed to feel something.
Yeah.
And it's just very manipulative. It's almost like a type of passive hypnosis. It's social engineering to make sure you're in a certain emotional state.
Right. It's what evangelical worship leaders do too. You're priming the room already to think that whatever you feel from here on out is going to be God. We're going to control the temperature of the room. We're going to control everything about the music. We're going to control the lighting, and everyone around you is also believing this too. And you're all going to be singing the same stuff over and over and over again. So it really is like hypnosis almost. But if you want to read more about that in general, just looking up mystical experiences, and then you can put whichever religion you want next to it, and that'll bring up more information on it.
It is just funny how much in common it has with like stage hypnosis.
Yeah, it's the same shit.
To the people speculating, my real name is Xander Theodore Crookshanks. So,
can confirm that's how I refer to Jimmy when we're chatting off of this platform.
And Eve is actually Mary Ellis Theodosia Buckingham.
Correct. I prefer Miss Buckingham.
Ms. Book.
Oh.
I just call her Ms. Book. Oi, Ms. Book. We're going out to rob some old men today. Get out with our band of little boys going around robbing all the coffers.
Oh my God!
I just made us an episode of a movie Oliver Twist. Let's go and lift the wallets out them britches. I could do that all night, and you're clearly over it. I'm like,
the problem is I would eventually join in, and I would not stop speaking in a British accent, and it would be
for the rest of the
really
night.
Embarrassing. I'm just thinking of all the clips people are going to make of this later, and imagining the ones I don't want to be in.
Did you see what Forrest and I did the other day? Did you see the Instagram post of us split where it's his face on mine? Go to Instagram and pull up mine or his right now and just look.
Okay.
We did some silly gooseries. We were having some silly gooseries. I'll read this
see.
while you look that up.
Okay.
$10 from Evangelicals Never Lie. If you can prove a presuppositional so-called God, why not call a global news conference? Why? Because you're full of it, Pilgrim. You find it?
This is insane.
Do you know how we did that? Do you get it? Hang on. Do you want to try?
Yeah, I kind of do.
All right. Do you know how to zoom in with your software?
No, I don't.
You got to pull up that face cam software. Yeah, I think so. You just hit the zoom slider. If it freezes, you'll need to turn off preview. And then all I have to do is come in here and connect my camera.
Wait. So turn off preview, which let's see if I can even figure out how to do that.
Honestly, it's still going though, so you're fine.
Okay. So now I'm just going to zoom.
Yeah.
This is going to be so embarrassing.
And then you have to like move your head around to.
Okay. Oh my God. Hold on. Wait. I have to go the opposite way.
You mean?
And now I have to go up a little.
I can get a little bigger. And then now tilt your head down a little, and we got to line up the noses.
Hang on. Should I zoom a bit more?
No,
that doesn't.
Stay right where you are.
Oh my God. That is.
Okay. Go down a little. Just a little. Go down. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I'm trying to make the noses match up.
This is so disturbing.
I feel like we look like a hot surfer dude together. You don't see it?
Honestly, I've always wanted to have light colored eyes, so this is really awesome. Yeah, move the eyebrows a lot.
I'm trying to move it to your speech. Now, do you want to see your top of your head with a beard?
Oh, how do we even do that?
I'm gonna have to. I'll switch the tiles. Let me. Again, this is a cause I wanna. I don't care if you're having a good time. If you're watching right now and you're like, what is this? This is stupid. I give a fuck. Okay, so I need to switch 20 and 21. So this becomes 20 and this becomes 21. And
okay, wait, now I have to zoom again a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that zoomed enough?
And then let me get probably a little
more.
more.
I'm gonna have to like crouch Zoom more?
Yeah, because I'm going to zoom more to make... I have a robot camera. Mine's cool.
Wow.
Let's
I
see.
need to...
I'll come back. I'll back off some, and then I'll move the tilt down.
But then I need to get down.
Oh, you need me...
Wait. I can't... Okay, there we go.
Come up just a little. Line those nostrils up.
I'm trying. This is like a weird game. Okay.
I think you need to straighten
I need to
your
zoom
head
more.
out more. Yeah, do
I'm
that
trying.
too.
Let me zoom. Wait. I hope everyone's really enjoying. Oh, now I maybe zoomed too much, but no,
I think you're about right.
That's easier. And I need to go that way. And I need to come that way. Wait.
Okay, you stay still. Let me see if I can help.
Okay.
There we go. Hi everybody, welcome to Cause I Wanna. We're basically let's make the nose really small. Come down, yeah, right there.
Wait.
And then I'm gonna go like right. Hi everyone, welcome to Cause I Wanna. This is gonna be a fun episode. Okay, I think we're...
That is insane.
It's fine.
Oh.
Forrest is gonna be
I was having to
"That
like
was our
crouch
thing."
so much. Sorry, Forrest.
Forrest is gonna feel stolen from. That's
I
my
am
man.
gonna tag Forrest, and when I post this on my Instagram,
He's
it'll be
gonna
great.
attack you.
Bring it.
Charlotte says, "Thank you for starting Chewed Gum. Before that programme, I don't know, but your spelling's correct. I strictly tuned in for TACIS. The new show was like a bridge to everything else. Went from I'm trans to oh yeah, I'm a woman to oh right, I'm a person too. Hell yeah. Well, congratulations.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Charlotte.
I like the idea that like TACIS was our only good show and we had to connect. We had to bridge people to the other shows by bringing out another great show. But I'm pretty open about that. I think TACIS and Chewed Gum are way better than the rest of the bullshit we put on this channel. A bunch of fucking garbage. Unfortunately, the rest of some of the other garbage shows are popular, so it's like
Right.
we have to pay the bills for the good
Have
shows.
some garbage. Right. Like this episode right now.
That's right.
$10 from Dade Murphy. I don't believe in God, although I know it exists because ... trees.
Look at the trees.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've heard those exact words from Theists before. So.
Oh yeah, Dade, can I ask a favor? Will you do a lip sync for Eve, and I'll forward it to her. Dade does his own shorts and content, and a lot of it is he has a very expressive face in the way I don't know how to explain it, but it's fun to watch. He'll
Nice.
do on YouTube. You can actually like lip sync over without. It still gives us credit and takes people back to the video and stuff.
Cool.
And I watch his stuff. I don't know.
That would be
I don't
so
even
fun.
like consuming the line, but I like consuming the line when he's anyway. If you'll do one for Eve, I will.
That would be so fun.
I'll forward it to her. Koi Cutie says Dade Murphy smokes the trees he believes in. Koi, Dade was being facetious.
$10 from Smola. Here's an idea for a great per-theist call poll. Which fallacy most qualifies? God of the gaps, incredulity, etc. Let chat show its alignment with the arguments.
You know, it's funny though, because I see God as the gaps and argument from incredulity as the same argument, just with different key words. Like you could have an argument from incredulity though that has nothing to do with God, but a specific, very common religious argument from incredulity is the God of the gaps. That's how I feel. $10 from Skeptoidius. As someone who partook in bong hit philosophy and recorded my thoughts once, and my God, I said some dumb shit when I was faded. Shit that I thought was super deep. It's what's really bothering me though about this message is why are your emojis working, but in the past, like nobody's emojis have really worked. Or have they? Maybe it's just some. I don't know. Dade Murphy says, theist, I believe in God. Atheist, I don't believe you. Exactly. And it's like, yeah, it's just fucking... Or, I mean, I would prefer a skeptic, like theist, I believe in God. Skeptic.
Sure.
Why? like, That's a simple thing.
Yeah.
That's what I try to be more. Here you go.
$5 from Monkey at Typewriter. Here's one for the first Jared. Somewhere he's celebrating his victory again over the vaunted atheist Jimothy Belland and Eve, the gasp woman. Yes, we ran away from him so quickly that Jimmy offered him an entire episode.
It's so funny too because he when he called and was being shitty to Stacy and Dave, he literally at the end when they were saying a similar thing to me. It's like, this is not how you testify in church. This is not, stop trying to make your way through like a big word justification and see if you can confuse.
Yeah, explain like I'm 5, right?
And he literally said at the end, "You two have done like tremendous and irreversible damage to the atheist cause," and it turns out we've been fine. And no one brings that up fucking ever. So
wow.
I think he might also have some delusions of grandeur, if you will. Is this me or you? I don't remember.
I think it's you. But
colloquially, SJL says, "I'm a hard atheist. If I need to defend it, then I'm an agnostic atheist." I would say that I as a practical matter, live as a hard atheist or a positive atheist or a strong atheist. The 3 words that mean the same fucking thing. Anyway, I live practically as a hard atheist, but am technically a soft atheist.
Well, I feel like I'm pretty Gnostic atheist or hard atheist toward most of the God claims that I'm presented with. So it's easy to do that.
Yeah. Again, it would be if somehow you found a God and could prove it, I would associate that with Alex Jones this week. I don't remember what it was, but he tweeted something that was correct. So again, broken clocks can be right. It's just not often. And so it would literally be like, all right, I missed the broken clock. My bad.
Right.
I wouldn't be like, oh, how could I have missed all of this brilliance?
Yeah.
Here you go.
$5 from Monkey at Typewriter. I'm noticing that a lot of theists don't so much have a problem saying, I don't know. Rather, they extrapolate, so anything's possible from it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. They should. The problem is they don't stay at I don't know, I think is what it is. Some of them, you're right, do say we don't know, so therefore God, which just makes all kinds of zero sense.
I am fucking I have dyshydrotic eczema and my pinky is going fucking crazy right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's awful.
Also, by the way, to the people who are like, hey, I hate that you're getting false reported or whatever is causing the problem, but I still want to support. So yes, patreon.com/call-the-line for those who can. But if you can't, and even if you can, another great way to support is to try and help us algorithmically and show the algorithm that the episodes matter more. So do click like, subscribe, watch as much of the episode as you can, because watch time's like really great. But if you want to do other little things that help the algorithm, so when we eventually do get remonetized, as it'll probably be this episode also, it'll go out to more people. Cool. Another one from Monkey at a Typewriter. What's the difference between Jesus and a picture of Jesus? It only takes one nail to hang the picture. Happy Jewish Zombie Weekend. I would argue that with the right nail, Jesus could be done with the one. It was more of a... Just saying.
Oh, man. $10 from Smola. I take back my poll idea. Let's just get emojis representing each fallacious argument so we can spam them in chat. That's a good idea. We can have some inside jokes about fallacies.
Evangelicals. Actually, we should just get some. Fallacy. That's a good idea. I'll actually. I thought you were making a joke at first, and now I'm thinking about it. And some custom channel emojis. They'd only be for channel members, but that are like argument from blah blah blah. That would be kind of cool.
I think that's a great idea.
Einstein believed in a deterministic universe, rejecting quantum mechanics' inherent randomness, a stance later contradicted by quantum theory's validation. Hence, smart people have been wrong, except for that quantum mechanics has not actually... So quantum mechanics has not disabused determinism because, one, quantum mechanics may happen on such a small scale that they actually can't interfere with determinism, and 2, the appearance of randomness does not actually establish randomness. And while quantum mechanics currently appear to be random, it may be a failure of understanding and incredulity than an actual true randomness. But I appreciate what you're trying to say there. Also, when we're talking about determinism, most often we're discussing whether or not we as individuals in our development and stuff had alternate choices, or whether things were always going to be the way they were going to be. And on that scale, it's almost, you can almost say that it's likely that quantum mechanics do not interfere with that. But there are many quantum physicists who are still determinists, I should point out. But I appreciate your contention. That's actually one of the things I kind of enjoy talking about sometimes.
$10 from Smola. Ah, nuts. I forgot. Jimmy, I love you, but go fuck yourself. I had to teach Alyssa all about the GFY. It was really fun. I felt like I finally knew something. I was like, oh, I know what this means now, so I can tell you.
I'm excited. We should just do one of these soon with the 3 of us. Do a
trio
show.
Please.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Is this me?
Yes.
Evangelicals Never Lie says, fact, the presuppositional so-called supernatural cannot be proven with philosophy. Matt Dillahunty.
Who's that?
I don't know. Some guy.
Some guy.
Sounds bald. I don't.
He sounds like he has a less cool shirt than this, honestly. That's how he sounds.
He's doing a debate right now. I'm going to probably look at what their concurrent viewers
He's being
were.
serious.
The thing is, I don't know, the thing I find so, never mind, I'm not going to go on a rant about presuppositionalism, but it's as self-defeating as it is self-aggrandizing, shall we say. Here you go.
Demonetization is oppression.
It's certainly suppression, because it does have despite their denials, I actually years ago got to talk to my YouTube rep more in depth, and they're like, well, okay, so it doesn't affect your algorithm. However, it does pass along the reason you were demonetized, and so it will apply that reason, and so during that period of time, you might experience until that reason is lifted up. But if you could demonetize without the reason being pushed along, it would change nothing. It's literally like, that is a distinction without a difference, if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
Koi Dury says, you'll take my super chat and you'll like it. You're damn right I will.
That's true. 1999 from Narrative Dude. Love you, Jimmy, but Eve brings a bright relevance to the show. Honestly, all of you have amazing chemistry, and I would love to see a Forrest and Eve session. That would be fun.
Yeah. By the way, you never have to say but. You could literally say, love you, Jimmy. And
I know, that's what I was reading it and I was like, oh man.
You could even say, love you, Jimmy, and Eve is better than you, and I wouldn't disagree, nor would I be offended. I would be so on board.
Because that butt implies.
You mean the B? Oh, okay. Let's get it, because it fit in that you were saying I have a worse butt.
No. That's not where that was
Now
going.
I'm posting pictures of my ass. How dare you? No, I don't have an ass. I look like a frog stood up. You're welcome.
Oh, man. This is yours.
$5 from Mahalia. Did I actually skip one? I think I did, actually. No, I didn't. Okay. From Mahalia. Hello, my lovelies. I'm sending a super chat to ask how many others would like to see that tank tops be added to merch as an option. # Eve is the best host. So there will be things that are tank tops, and there have been in the past. We do a lot of temporary runs of things, and usually I try to limit it to 5 product types, because I'm not just going to do like it oversaturates the store and you end up selling less of everything. You have more options, so try to restrict it. But we did.
I will say this crop top is really, really nice, and I was even thinking about it because I get tired of clothes pretty quickly. Once I start getting tired, not that I could ever get tired of this, but once I need to change the look up, these sleeves would be easy to cut off and make it a whole new thing. So
oh my god, I hope you do eventually. Everybody buy the shirts and then modify them and post it on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way,
repost them.
Anything that is like a Jimmy merch, which this is one of them, even though that's not me, it's a Jimmy merch, I always make sure it's made of, and I order samples to double check. Though I didn't with this one, I sent one to somebody to make sure. Because of my own autism, I make sure that it's always like a really soft, nice, non-agitating material. So
I will say this one is very Very nice.
And I agree. Eve is the best host. Skeptoidia says,
Very kind.
did I say the last one? This one.
Yes, wearing a Holter monitor because my heart is acting wonky and the doctors can't figure out what's wrong. Anyone know of any good doctors? All I know is some chiropractor. Ben, I think his name is.
Yeah, if you ever need a back adjustment, just go to Ben. He's a chiropractor. He's not really. We fuck with Ben. Ben's a doctor of osteo, and they can do like chiropractic adjustments, but they also are
but he's
a doctor.
not right.
Yeah. It's fun to fuck with them. But no, I would not try to give you medical advice. I don't know. You have to go to a doctor that's in your network anyway. I don't know.
Sorry about the heart stuff, though. I hope they get it sorted.
Rosie Raid, $5 Canadian, says chaotic neutral, but who's your BG3 romance, Jimmy? Carlock all the way until the end of time. Carlock can get it.
I don't know what any of this means, but I'm excited for Carlock.
It's a video game character, and
nice.
It's honestly cliche to fall in love with her. She's a red demon lady who's just like so nice and affirming.
Sounds amazing.
Like when you talk to her, she's always like, hey, handsome. And you're just like, I need someone like this in my life who just casually calls me handsome. Whatever. Anyway, so that's who it is for me. This one's you.
$10 from Monster and Head. The quality of theist callers is so poor. I have yet to hear even a good attempt to give an argument supported by evidence. So here's the question. How would you handle a serious call like that? I mean, we'd have to hear the argument.
I think the calls that relate to like what people think were actual miracles are closest to this. And literally it's the same thing usually. It's like, prove it. But if you're saying they called with actual evidence and the evidence was good, I'd react by becoming a theist. I would adopt the belief. But it don't happen because it turns out there's no God.
Yeah, if somebody called with convincing evidence, I say this all the time on my social media stuff. If you have convincing evidence, I will be convinced. Is this me?
Yeah.
$10 from Kim. Nice seeing you, Jimmy. Hope you're doing well. Here's some money to combat the false reports. Eve, I need to know what mascara you use. Your lashes are popping. That is very kind of you. I'm going to be very honest. I have naturally really long eyelashes, so it doesn't matter what mascara I use. In fact, I'm using like some really horrific mascara that I don't recommend. It's like going all over the place. So it's like some $5, I think it's that Essence brand. I'm saying this, don't go buy it. Just, it's not a good one.
No one asked what type of mascara I use. $5 from Poor Claire. I wish the chewed gum intro was more in the style of Cause I Wanna, but with the cute imagery of chewed gum. Also, that's what I think that's what Eve said. Also, now I get why people make so much fun of Jimmy's mouth. Fuck you. Fuck you. So last night I mentioned or Wednesday night with Forrest, I'd mentioned like, people never go after my actual insecurities. Like I'm actually insecure about my mouth, but no one ever brings it up. And so that's what Claire's doing. But no one knows the what things about my mouth I'm insecure about. That's the thing. It's not just the mouth in general. Anyway.
Yeah.
Just ask my boyfriends.
$10. Wow. That's a good one.
I like bringing up being queer because sometimes it makes straight people uncomfortable. Did I tell you about the email with the guy who was like, every time you mention giving head, I have no choice but to imagine you sucking my dick. And I was like, and you need to stop that right now. Stop making me think of you suck my dick. I'm like, fucking, I don't care what you fucking imagine. Go down the rabbit hole. Find out where you end up. Now, with consent, go down the rabbit hole. I don't go down the rabbit hole, but my mouth isn't off limits. Anyway, that was like if rabbit hole meant butthole. This one's for you to read.
I figured that much out. I caught this stream pretty late, but it's my birthday, and a lot of people in my life forgot. So a happy birthday from you guys would be much appreciated. Love this channel. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Happy birthday. I'm so sorry. That's depressing when it's a bad birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Yes, there we go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear clear mug. They're coming over. They want a birthday, but they're just a clear mug. Who even knows when a mug has a birthday? They're just a clear mug.
I feel like you just made their birthday worse.
Happy birthday to you. If you're under 21, we might have a chance in the future. You and me. Oh, God. And if you're under 18, we still have a chance, but we gotta wait. We gotta wait a couple of years.
I hope this is still Donald Trump
That's
speaking.
Donald, not me. Jesus Christ. The dude
Just
grooms.
thought we should clarify.
The dude grooms. Fucking
This is
groomer.
very true.
There's some talk about another time. You got to get out of here. So last one is from Nicholas. Every time I'm in court, anything is possible, right? I always say no. Possibility has to be demonstrated. Anything's possible, Your Honor. I fell and robbed
Imagine.
that person. Yeah. Eve, why don't you remind people where to find you, and then let's end this piece of shit.
We really should have opened with you just actually saying
Let's
that.
start this piece of shit. Well, then they'd have reason to demonetize, starting with a swear word.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you guys can find me. It's Eve_was_framed on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, which I even try to avoid, but have at it. Yeah, all the places. And then here on Tuesday night, I will be back 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Alyssa. Alyssa's with me this Tuesday, right?
I think so. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
We are going to now end the show. My credits thing is broken, but that's okay. We're going to use this opportunity to reveal which intro won. So our outro will be the winning intro, and no one will get to see which one of us reacted which way, if we're disappointed, whatever. So good night, everybody. The winner of tonight's poll was...